who will return to the big stage in Madrid and wait for that lower bracket runner. They're already both in Worlds. They're already both going to the International. It is simply just about who is going right now, in your thoughts, as the highest seed. A lot of people saying this just could be a grand final rematch as well with how they're playing.
Definitely feels like could be giving us a taste, and Alvaro might be about to get a taste as Lebrov over the wall.
Yeah, it does find him. Crash down is good. So on to Alvaro. The poke is there with a threaded volley. Hansama looking for some follow-up here. No zap as of yet. Alvaro just paces it out, but Lebrov might get a deep ward here and start with some good information. I do correct myself. He started with the lens. As Skumon clears out wards and topside as well. A double stop. Lebrov, yep, finds Alvaro. And at 1 minute 10, he can't back.
Pops the pause. I'm keeping my eyes on the two mid laners because you see Caps was trying to zone Jojo Pion off of coming down towards this bottom side of the map. Place a ward as well, just to spot out the jungle path team, but a nice little trade in the get-go for G2, already burning that pot onto Alvaro.
And the trading will begin, keeping my eyes immediately on these junglers because these are the two players that I'm keeping my eyes on in this matchup specifically. Skumon versus Elyoya. Skumon has had an incredible summer. As a player, I feel like he's had massive impact to the success of G2. And I think that for Elyoya, I mean, he's just become such an established player here in the LEC. He's becoming one of the greatest the EU's ever had in that jungle position. And he's a large part, he's kind of that machine that brings Koi together. When he's on form, Koi look fantastic. It looks like that both are starting on that top side. They're going to be pathing towards bot. And we know that in the Fnatic series that Koi recently played, bot lane was the center of all the action.
Whether they want to be or not.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll see if that is the same this game. There's a lot of trading happening in the 2v2.
A crash down with Winter's biting regards to blows is dangerous, but Alvaro even in more trouble. Hansama gets the flash out of the Brom. Lebrov takes a heavy trade. His flash remains intact.
Oh, pause comes through, but honestly, I think you're kind of happy with that, is it? Like, sure, you get the flash, but you're going to force Hansama and Lebrov to back away. You should be able to crash this wave, and I think G2 have to go for the early reset. So you may actually just have gotten this wave advantage now for Supa off the fact that Hansama and Lebrov are so low.
Exactly. When we look at the actual summoners trade, you can see that Lebrov burnt his heal, in contrast to Alvaro using 2 summoners. But, as you rightly said, Supa with such a massive health advantage, he's got to feel pretty happy about
it's
that.
Also just, you have unsealed spellbook. So it's like, well, you're going to get a summoner spell back anyway, right? It's not the end of the world when you've got the unsealed spellbook value. So I think for Alvaro, even if it did look a little dicey, it may still net a win for Supa on that bottom side.
But if this was solo queue right now, you would be spam pinging bot lane, you'd be typing to your jungler furiously, you'd be writing him a letter saying, "Dear jungler," immediately, I would like to inform you that towards the southern parts of the map, summoner spells may perhaps be unavailable.
Where are you getting
what do we do if he doesn't have ultimate? He doesn't have level 6
right,
and he's not Karthus. What do we do?
First blood is gone by the time you press enter. The most ambitious
I'm remembering that Karthus meme, you know, dearest Karthus.
And look at all the time Alvaro has as he's walking back to lane, you know? It's
nice. Meanwhile, we were questioning this top lane pick again, but the bear trap on the rope is nice. Broken Blade sends it all in. Decimating Smash is the response, and BB is just going to try and get that shotgun and remount with every minion kill.
Yeah, and that's basically how you want to try and play the matchup again. When you're Kled, just go hyper-aggressive on the wave. Because you get the remount and so much of your health back, even if it ends up as an even trade, you inevitably win it in the long run. As here we go, Supa, getting some good trade. And now because Hansama and Lebrov stuck around to try and push that wave out, they're actually in a bit of a dire spot.
Hang on, with violent tendencies. Wait. Bear trap forces flash. It is that max health damage that is the problem for this Scion, as Broken Blade is showing us why.
The remount positioning from Broken Blade allowed him to get even closer to Mirwin than I think the Scion would have liked. Bit of a trade now between the junglers as Alvaro returns to lane.
Skumon did indeed get that smite down, so advantage here as he runs away. Elyoya just going to hover. Caps also getting this last minion, and Skumon looking for double scuttle as he roams up the top.
But yeah, Broken Blade did a very good job and ultimately came very close to securing a solo kill onto Mirwin, forcing that flash out. He's going to need to go back to base and TP in, but at the very least, Mirwin does get that wave underneath that tower now, so he's going to be able to catch the wave as it bounces back. Or maybe he'll just look for another shove. Meanwhile, Supa still sitting in this bot lane. He found himself in a 2v1 situation because, as you highlighted, Dagda, Alvaro kind of forced to be forced to go back to base. The bot lane of G2 still chose to stick around though, meaning that Super's like, okay, in a 2v1, I kind of have to respect this. But ultimately, the wave's not in a bad spot. Super doing a pretty good job in the farm department.
Well, the thing was, because the wave was pushing out for him, when Alvaro reset up, Hansam and Labrov had to back off, which meant that they end up losing the wave that was pushed because it was pushing away from them.
Exactly.
And now you can see that big CS lead that's opening up on the bottom side, thanks to that early play. So again, even though it looked a little bit dodgy, as maybe mid lane looks a bit dodgy as well, it actually wins out for MKOI in the long run.
Yeah, we are getting pretty extensive trades throughout all these lanes. I mean, it's been pretty aggressive. There's no real gold lead, but as I look across these lanes, slowly starting to edge out. Seems to be bot for now with Super and Alvaro. That confidence is netting about a 5 to 8 CS lead as soon as that wave is cleared.
I mean, it's pretty much a wave advantage in favor of Super right now. Both mid laners, every single mid that we've spoken to on the Euphoria podcast has always said that these are the two mid laners that will always test you. And I look at the left and right of our screen and I see these HP bars and it's these mid laners.
Hold, Betty, hold. Unbreakable is up with the concussive blows as well, getting close to target, but Alvaro is in kill range and kill indeed. Hansama one hit away. Super will flash for it and trades 1 for 1.
I think you take that as MKOI. Sure, Alvaro goes down, but Hansama falling in tow means that this CS lead again is going to open up for Super on the bottom side.
Everything going well for Super in this bot lane 2 versus 2. Naturally, you would think, oh no, my support dying is not the position that I want to be in, but turning it back onto the enemy AD carry results in the advantage that Dagda was just talking about. He's still going to be able to push out that wave. He's going to get a nice base. Broken Blade eyeing up this Scion now.
He has level 6. If he does a melee charge, it depends. Mewin could try and interrupt here, but I think way too dangerous. Decimating Smash now gone. Mewin low on mana, but Broken Blade is chunking here, looking for this push in before Mewin can ult back to wave. Or rather, the swap's going to happen, so it is just going to be bot coming up instead.
A BF sword picked up first base for Super, along with the cult. This Civet, we talked about the scaling on the side of Koi, this Azir and the Civet. Being in the positions that they're in right now, Koi is very happy with how this early game is going.
Yeah, especially because Aoyoi is about to take over to level 6 and you have no flash and no ghost and Hansam on that bottom side of the map. This could set up for an easy play. Aoyoi just sticking around the mid-wave though. Won't be able to hit 6, but
flash. Nicely done. Jojo's got back up though. The shove into turret is nice. The crash down even nicer. Alvaro takes 2 turret shots. Jojo there for emotional support. His ult now down. And meanwhile, G2 survive what could have been great setup from MKOI.
It's a nice dragon take from, oh actually, is he just going to pull off? I was about to say it's a nice dragon take from G2. So the aggressive TP coming through from Labrov sets up then for them to move across towards the objective. And in the grand scheme of things, when you have the lead that Super had, I didn't expect G2 to be able to set up for the dragon. So nice job by Skimon to find that moment alongside being able to cover caps in the mid lane.
Alvaro going to use his TP to get to top lane to work with Super to get this push in. You can see that he sacrificed some CS, but Super halfway to level 7 already because of how much time he's actually spent solo in that bot side, and the fact that he got the kill onto Hansama as well, getting more time to push out that wave. He's just being funneled so much experience. He's very close to even Jojo in the mid lane, who spent the entire game solo in his mid lane matchup. So good job by Super. He will be the player that I'll be keeping my eyes on in this game because honestly, the junglers have been quite quiet so far. And I think for Aoyoi, that's the best case scenario for him. He wants to get that level 6 on the Wukong. Now he's poised and ready to be involved in the action. But for Skimon, wanting to perhaps be a little bit more aggro in the early gamers, Labrov now in a bit of danger.
With that Winter's Bite as well, connecting on top. And here comes Aoyoi, a couple of bonks, and he'll be stunned up. There he stands. But the commitment stops there from Movistar Koi as nearby with Skimon on his red buff.
G2 are having a lot of whoopsies with the lanes assignments though. Hansama reset on mid wave and now has to try and move to the top side. Has lost an entire wave there. Super got more alone time with that tower on the top side. And now MKOI off the pressure Super has in top, move across the Void Grubs. It feels like G2 kind of sloppy on the map, which is surprising for them.
Then you've got numbers mismatch as well until Hansama comes in. Grub's taken as 1 for now. Skimon looking for the steal. Boomerang helps out and no smite committed. Skimon holds onto it for this final grub, and Aoyoi is going to wrap around, but he is too late. So while it was a sloppy start there for MKOI to get forced out, audacious charge, but simply onto a clone, G2 get the majority of that objective in top side.
Overall, we can see a small goal lead for Koi, but the objective lead going the way of G2. Already working towards that feats of warfare. And it's kind of a slow start to this series, kind of what I expected, especially when we think about the compositions that they've drafted for. It is that team fighting where a lot of this is going to be accelerated. And again, I draw back to these key pieces. I think about Talia, her ultimate. How can that change the setup or the dynamic of how Koi want to play the front to back? The Azir wall. If Jojo can find a nice Shurima shuffle, perhaps an Elyoya flank, getting an early knock-up onto Hansama, burning that early flash. There are these key pieces that can really change the dynamic of how you would traditionally expect a front-to-back teamfight comp to play out.
I feel like this comp so far, absolutely chilling. And to come back to it, the first early levels, first 6 have just been nice, especially with Super trading up and once again doing that in an isolated lane. There's another bit of plating for the Sivir, 600 gold the lead, and this is what we know of Movistar Koi. If Super's in a good position, if Super can carry and get into those fights mid to late with a lead, the game feels so much more reliable for the Spanish squad.
Especially on the Sivir here, there's just very little things that actually have a lot of backline threat. Like, unless you can land the Wind Becomes Lightning or Lebrov gets some crazy kind of engage off, realistically, Super should be fine for a lot of these fights, just continue to dish out the damage. And I think that's where G2 will be worried if Super continues to find these leads.
Okay, Broken Blade looking better and better each time we come out. The jousting gets him out of range before full charge of Decimating Smash.
Now, I do want to talk a bit about the history between these two teams, because when we look at the rivalry that has existed between MKOI and G2 with Mad alongside it, it is pretty competitive, but it is G2 that does lead in terms of the overall advantage. Of course, when we think about this year, it's been a very competitive year with MKOI, of course, getting that big finals back in spring. In the series before that, it was G2 that got the advantage. In the best of threes that we've seen, they've been very close, often going all the way to the full 3 games. It has been super competitive between these two rosters, and ultimately it all comes back to the addition of Jojo at the beginning of the year. A lot of question marks surrounding the addition of this player, but my goodness, the development he's made from the beginning since he first joined the LEC to where he's at now. Incredible patience. His laning phase continues to be extremely strong. The way he navigates with his team. Like, he's been a fantastic competitor to Caps in the mid lane.
Wait, but Caps is still showing up big. Miss from Lebrov, but Caps does get the flash. The flash, that's close enough out of enemy mid. Now, the thing about Jojo is coming in winter, this guy was terrible. And let's be real, he wasn't a terrible player, he didn't perform well. But the glow up in the LEC individually has been insane. That if you told me in winter with that performance, he would be a top 2, maybe performing for the best mid laner, or as the best mid laner in summer, I'd laugh at you. But it has just been such a great hero story, and it has just shown the hard work that MKOI have put in over the year to get in this spot. This goes popped onto Skumon. Winter's Bite, the engage begins. Cyclone onto Lebrov, and the damage immense as he flashes away. Skumon has to ulti as well. Shattering Strike does nothing, and standing there to die is Lebrov as Super takes him away.
MKOI just found a great moment to pounce. Jojo was on reset, so I think G2, after chunking him out, were like, okay, MKOI aren't going to go aggressive, but Hansama had moved into position. And MKOI get the kill, get the dragon, and get out.
The timing from MKOI was spectacular. They're set up around the objective, they knew the window, and as Dagda highlighted, just a really good force prior to the objective starting. Needing to be fast in this moment is crucial. They see a member of G2 out of position, they turn their attention onto Lebrov, Skumon's forced to ult early, Caps has to flash from Alvaro, aggressively flashing forward, and now Elyoya caught in the river.
Free talent strike, it's a knock-up. Lebrov coming in over the wall, the shock forces the flash, the wall, save from Jojo. He gets out as well, but with the lightning crush down, Hansama is going to find a kill eventually as Elyoya kites it out, but there it is. The kill over to Hans, Elyoya drops, Jojo can't save his life.
So at the very least, G2 converted into a kill for themselves with the objective going the way of MKOI. This does open up some plates on the bot side of the map as we get closer to 14 minutes and those plates falling off. Alvaro, though, will support Jojo to make sure that no dive threats are in the area. And instead, Lebrov will focus on getting a few deep wards. He will be spotted, so MKOI should be aware of this deep vision. Lebrov is in a bit of an awkward spot.
We don't have Caps' logo for his ulti, but I assume it's still up.
So you don't level this until you need it, so it won't show
so he
until he
hasn't
levels.
used it, so he hasn't done it. Okay, makes sense. I was wondering, I'm like, why have we only got a bug? Remember we talked about this, I think, last split as well. Let's see if he needs it now. Caps get the flip back. Alvaro, no, not at all. Crashdown going to miss, though, and defensive ulti from Alvaro keeps him alive for a little bit longer. Caps ends up getting the kill, though, and now he's on the board.
G2 have been finding some nice picks in River. Catching Alvaro now out of position. and gets them another kill. And crucially, the fact you get that first kill going to Hansama and now a kill going to Caps, it's on to key members, and Jojo's overextended.
There you go, there's finally that level. Jojo could fight forward. Shattering Strike still connects Crash down on top of that as well, but no sides with shove means Jojo's going to stand his ground. Take a bit of damage with the threaded volley. It's getting close. Caps again, one more shot! And Caps will take it. No redemption for you.
Flick down at the end there, just barely catching onto the pigeon, and he will end up going down. G2, they are picking up the pace here.
They certainly are. They are just catching MKOI out of position. What was a 2-2 in kill score quickly turned into 2-3 and now 2-4. And the good news for Koi is it's not converting into any real objectives. It is just a pick here, a pick there. And so the goal isn't swinging that dramatically. Meanwhile, Koi, they still have full control over the mid-wave thanks to Super, who's just been free farming on the Civet. 152 CS at 50 minutes into the game means that he's got pretty much perfect farm so far into this game. And the Herald, now alive, means that that should become the next big point of contention between these two teams.
Core ults that are going to be up. Labrov should have his mark. Everyone else should be there outside of Caps on G2 as well. Jojo's wall will be back up too, as simply a clone for the Shattering Strike here in mid. But that Herald, as you said, is going to be the next focus, and obviously G2 want to take as much as they can, because we're talking about the front to back and draft of what MKOI provide in this game one. When you have a Talia, a Kled, I feel like pressing that R button, having that go button in this early to mid game is so damn important for this red side draft.
And I think for MKOI, they don't have the options to go for those orb button presses. Miran has to catch his top wave, so he can't really set up for this play to collapse onto G2. Now has control of the top side, but it looks like G2 have already kind of established themselves in here, and they don't really want to contest them.
MKOI, they want to gain some access. Labrov acting as gatekeeper for now with Hansama at his helm. The mid-wave is going to be the priority for Super as he clears that one out, and yet MKOI couldn't really find a good angle into the river.
Yeah. With
Caps pushing that top wave as well. Mirwin being on the top side and Jojo being on the bot side, you really want that Azir involved in the fight, and I think MKOI made a wise decision not trying to overforce that fight. Taking the patient approach in this game, I think, is just the wiser choice. You know you have great scaling. If there's not a good angle for you to take, there's no need for you to overforce. And that type of discipline is what you want to be seeing from one of our top teams here in Europe.
True. One of these clumsy forces we've seen is Labrov. This is deep. He's going to take a blast code, not out. Alvaro's going to wrap around, and Jojo's still here. However, Broken Blade on the horizon. I think Labrov should be fine as long as he gets crushed down over the wall, which he does, even after a concussive blow, and Broken Blade's there to hover. Nothing down in bot for another 40 seconds, but note that Dragon and the setup here. MKOI will have advantage as that objective comes up.
Yeah, I'm surprised Jojo didn't come across, but I wasn't sure if they just weren't entirely certain where Skewmon was on the map. So maybe Skewmon ends up coming out to try and help out his support. But it doesn't mean Labrov a little bit chunked. Still though, no real advantage here on wave pushes, right? You've got Azir now who's just shoved in bot. Caps can immediately clear that out. Mid is still being contested on both sides. So MKOI and G2 uncertain as to exactly how much they want to go for Dragon here.
I mean, I'm looking at these scoreboards, and naturally my eyes are drawn towards Super and how strong the Sivir is quickly becoming, but Caps on the other side, 192 CS at 17.5 minutes, rapidly approaching his second core item with a 1.1k gold lead thanks to the 2 kills that he's been able to pick up in this game. Both top laners have TP. There is a bit of a health advantage skewed towards Mirwin. Alvaro, Super on one side, Elyoya on the other. We'll see how MKOI approach this.
But look, Elyoya and Jojo getting zoned off from Caps into a seismic shove. Elyoya's chunked to half HP. No jungler for MKOI. The variance in this play has just been reduced, and that's a free Dragon with one press of a button.
Labrov and Caps are doing a great job of just playing gatekeepers. Labrov denying Alvaro and Super entrance into the pit, and on the opposite side, Caps are just playing for the choke points out of these Atakan walls to make sure that if Elyoya tries to enter, he's going to get stunned up and damaged as well. It makes it really difficult for MKOI, who are a bit separated.
Caps a little bit low. I was questioning just to see. Jojo some good side sets. Labrov thinks better of it, and note the 2 Dragons for G2 the start of this game.
Do love watching both Jojo and Caps play. They just love to play on that edge at all times. We've seen some incredibly fancy feet from Jojo in this game as he's had to sidestep a lot of skill shots and targets. Elyoya now sets his target as the top lane.
As Flash as well. Broken Blade also just jousted his way in. That's a mistake, but nice little buffer on the charge. He gets out, and it's ulti for ulti between top.
We just haven't really seen Elyoya be able to make much magic happen as
Jojo, oh, he predicts it. He knows, he thinks Caps is waiting around. Redemption brings him to fall, and that 1v1 now unfair as top lane. MKOI getting the brick of it as think that is Mirwin just standing his ground. He's tanky enough. They need to commit, but under turret, it's difficult. Shattering strike onto Elyoya. The damage on Skumon into Elyoya is better, but decimating smash, the zone. Broken Blade about to dismount. Meanwhile, as bot ends up with Caps dead, there's help from Hans Sommer. Broken Blade, he's tanked up the aggro one time, but now the re-dive. It's a double over to Hans Sommer, and you thought the Sivir was strong. Welcome to the land of Zeri.
Wow, action across the map. Caps falls on the right side of the rift. Meanwhile, on the left, G2 is making a dive happen, but that's not slowing MKOI down. Super secures a tower in the mid lane, and G2 is keeping the aggression going. Just like that, as we approach the 20-minute mark, the pace has been accelerated.
G2 do not want to let this up. Tower number 2 going to fall on the top side, and that is so much gold, as Asterix just said, into this Zeri. What was a winning matchup for Supa now has all that gold lead for Hans Sama, and if he can play up in these team fights and be effective, it is going to make life hell for MKOI.
I'm curious as to how Caps ended up falling on the bot side of the map, because from our POV, initially it looked like that he had gotten out, but I guess MKOI continued to chase on the play. They were able to find a pick. The kill looks like it went over to Alvaro at the very end of it, but that dive so well executed on the top play as well, especially when they were underneath that tower. Lebrov's use of the heal to provide that movement speed for Skumon to get out of the Scion's range, to then turn the play back around and secure some kills. G2 very well managed of the tower aggro, and ultimately a successful play on the top side.
And overall, just on the map in general, G2 have kind of been beating MKOI to the punch. Like, even on that play that Elyoya tried to make on top side, he's still sticking around to try and help out Mirwin. G2 overload that top half, and MKOI just don't have a response. And even when we see these Dragon setups, it's G2 that are getting to that position first, being able to get the denial of access to MKOI. MKOI kind of are getting left in just being too slow to get access to a lot of these plays.
You ready to see another one? No, there's no dragon, but it's all about the Otacon in this bottom side of the map. Mirwin has push and MKOI grouped up as 4.
Look at top.
Yeah.
They are leaving that to Caps' win, but as Jojo comes and match, will be TP for TP if it gets to that. Cap's going to look for his escape. Jojo interrupts the wall and sends him back. Now no ultis on either, but the seismic shove gives Caps a little bit of time. He TP's in front of him, but with lethal tempo, Jojo won't let him escape.
It's a good attempt from Caps, but Jojo's got one better. Huge pick on the side lane and kind of shuts down a lot of that pressure. And for MKOI, the fact that you can bring Jojo across and actually start to threaten those towards Adakan and Dragon is huge.
Broken Blade just trying to do some damage to Mirwin before anything else starts out down here, but MKOI have numbers advantage. That Dragon's up in a minute. Adakan, as you're talking about, is going to be the priority. And this should just be a take here as G2, with that loss, are losing massive chunk of gold for this.
That was a very important pick by Jojo, because not only do you take the TP away from Caps, but look at how the dynamic of the game seems to have changed. That mid lane gap was absolutely massive, a 1.1k gold lead for Caps.
Whoa.
But now 2 back-to-back deaths have resulted in Jojo now getting the gold lead. This is the level 15, a full level over Caps. And I mean, we talked about the scaling potential before. Supa still in a fantastic position, even though Hans Sama has been injected a bunch of gold, and he himself is a level down to Supa. So I think the Koi is still well on their way to securing a fantastic team fight as we get later and later.
However, wait for the interrupt. Mirwin seismic shove avoided. Caps would have found the flick back and maybe the kill with Bear Trap on a rope expiring. This bot turret holds on. I mean, this outer turret has really gone through the ringer as G2 keep trying to push him in.
But it's just a couple of seconds now until the Dragon. So with Mirwin having to reset and no TP, it should give G2 a little bit of time alone with this turret. And they might be able to get it. Although it looks like MKOI doing a good job to defend, as G2 gonna get access to river.
An early base comes through from Hans Sama. It looks like that he wants to, complete his Infinity Edge ahead of this fight. G2 have position on it, but they are a man down. They need the Zeri to come back into the fight. The Hex Gate's being used. Hans is very close.
But is he close enough? Jojo on the way as well. No flash, but an Azir wall at the ready. Hexgate used by Mirwin. He's got a blast cone to reposition back into the river. G2 hold their way in the triangular brush as decimating smash starts us off but out of range. Cap's going to go in first. Seismic shove connects, but it's onto a Scion at 4k. This Dragon ever so important. G2 needs soul point, but a little bit early. Broken Blade has to flush away. Decimating smash as well. Look how healthy MKOI are with the Cyclone out. Skumon early to LeBron. It's a great death now. A good shove from Caps as well. And now with the Weaver's Wall and closing around Movistar Koi, Elyoya's escape. It was imminent, it was there, but it's taken away. And
team fight. It was so tense for so long. We were waiting for who would be the one to initiate the fight. And keep your eyes on Elyoya on the left side. They're looking for an engage. He's waiting for that backline access, but he gets stunned up by Caps as the two frontliners lose half their HP. The moment Elyoya goes in, immediately stunned, and then G2 look for the re-engage.
And it's a phenomenal re-engage from lebrov as well to set up perfectly. The fact you have that Infinity Edge alongside the Runaan's Hurricane means Hans Sama is tearing through people in this.
I was looking that whole entire fight for like JoJo's ult. I thought, oh, with Cyclone, the layering, JoJo never ulted. Like, that is such a game-changing ult to bring to the fight, and G2 wiped him away before he could press the button.
It really felt like that from a positional point of view, Koi had the better position, but it felt like that Caps' Talia makes it so difficult to actually approach because there's so much threat that you have to be worried about, and with the Kled just being annoying, engaging, flashing out, re-engaging, it all just set up beautifully for lebrov to find that perfect engage to allow for the follow-up from G2.
And you can see how long Elyoya was waiting to try and find that moment, and that is kind of just the unfortunate thing here, trying to play into G2. There is a lot that can disrupt you for trying to go for the engage. You need to set up for a bit more flanks, and unfortunately with where everything was positioned, G2 were able to fall back into that Adakan if everything's got dicey.
Now, of course, this is a significant swing in gold, but Koi did secure the Dragon, denying Soul Point away from G2, and the Baron is still alive. So Koi are definitely not out of this game just yet.
But Elyoya just face checked into Broken Blade. He can buy some time, however, going to be demounted first. Cyclone number 2 connect. Redemption coming down. There's one in reverse. Broken Blade healed up, trying to remount to save his life. Meanwhile, the front of the fight, it's all Hans Sama all again. He'll manage from over the wall, keep his ult in full uptime as JoJo needs to escape into Skumon. That's not the way as Caps sends it home to take another. A double for Hans with the final left remaining. And yes, a Dragon denial last time was good, but you can't stop Hans Sama from running all over you.
Hans Sama is feeding himself in this game, dashing over the wall into several members of MKOI, securing the fight and winning the Baron for G2.
Just as I was saying, MKOI could still find a fight in this game. G2 silence me. They find such an effective turnaround in the jungle. What was supposed to be a pick for Koi ends in disaster.
And it's where they go onto Broken Blade here, you're like, okay, maybe we can make something work here. And I got a bit nervous for G2, but it's as Hans Sama spots Mirren, goes over the wall, and just immediately opens up onto Super, Elyoya, and Alvaro. Takes them down immediately, and Skumon being able to follow up means that JoJo just doesn't have anywhere to escape, and Hans Sama over the wall is able to finish them off, and Mirren left on the wrong side of town.
That flank from Mirwin looked like it could have been game-changing, but you highlighted it, Dagda. The immediate response is Alvaro now the target.
And by the way, as Alvaro dies here, we have had 2 big fights in a row in this game, and they have both been 5,000 gold fights. 10,000 the lead for G2. And what started as a very competitive game, a game of super scaling earlier than he should have, this Sivir having perma mid control, has just been enveloped by G2 hands dipping MKOI 2 times in a row.
I was just catching MKOI out constantly. Like, we've seen it in River, we've seen it now on the bottom side, we saw it on the top side, now they're catching out JoJo Pyun. It's just a constant pick play from G2.
Another pick secured for G2, 18 kills to 5. 28 minutes in, and it feels like the game is as good as done. With this kind of a lead, it's going to be much harder for Koi to find that miracle fight, and without that wave clear available from JoJo, G2 are looking to break the base.
Well, as G2 look for that inner turret, one thing you're going to go do, you're going to be there, okay? If you're not there, I'll find you. Number 2, LEC Summer Finals, we reach towards Madrid. Remember, these teams, this winner of this series, will be the first to lock their spot in on the big stage, and wait till you see what we have in store on that stage. Oh my God, it's beautiful. As for MKOI, their defense begins, but 3,013, excuse me if I can count, is the gold lead right now. Caps is sieging on top, and mid was broken long ago. Bot is being sieged by Broken Blade. This is utter domination in the span of 8 minutes.
I mean, for a lot of this game, it was extremely close. We saw some great back and forths, great punishes from Koi, nice picks being shown by G2, but ultimately it all culminated into that 4th Dragon fight where G2 just got the better of Koi, it ballooned the gold lead, and now we find G2 in this very dominant position. The Baron is going to be wearing off, and I don't think that G2 is going to get much more off the back of it, but they'll set their sights on the Dragon, put themselves on Dragon Point. Now they have to make a choice. Do they try and look to end the game now, or do they look to try and wait for the soul and then look to play through that?
I'm laughing because I just glanced at Hans Sammer's items. That man is
He's
two
about to
items
be
ahead
full build
of essentially everyone else in the game.
Lord.
He's doing good. He's eating well tonight, you know?
And he bought LDR in this game just to make sure there were no allegations against him, you know, leading up towards another international. Good on you, Hans. This Broken Blade's going to now zone him off, and MKoi, this is their dying knell, isn't it? At 29 minutes.
Well, the problem is, without Baron, Koi have so much wave clear.
They do.
Both Azir and Sivir, like, these are the turtle champions.
There's also Mega Dive and Pick, isn't there? I mean, there's a Weaver's Wall.
Oh,
Caps, okay, maybe a little bit further than I expected. I didn't expect he'd ride the roller coaster as minion wave is clear. That wave clear conversation is very important here as MKoi continue to defend.
I think Caps forgot there was a Braum in the game because he just put the wall straight into Alvaro. It was like, oh wait, yeah, that's how that interaction works. So, but
Yeah,
I was going to say, it's not great CG.
I do wonder if Koi also was surprised. Because I felt like the Cap should have insta-died there, and the fact that he was able to flash at all, I mean, a bit of a missed opportunity, but of course, Koi buy themselves a little bit more time, and time is really all they can play for. But yeah, the wave clear after wave clear, I mean, the 500 CS Sivir win condition is a thing for a reason.
But it's also the, like, lack of range on G2 just makes it really sad. Like, Zeri doesn't really want to step up to a turret and be in range of potentially a Wukong, the Azir coming through, a Shuffle, anything like this. So it just means you are kind of Baron reliant. But a minute 45 until that one comes up, and I don't know how MKoi is supposed to try and take this next fight.
Question beats me. Super now picks up 4th item, by the way, just so we keep track.
And there's a GA for Hans.
Okay, well, that guy's full build. So, to the surprise of absolutely no one. Note as well, Broken Blade, who has assists this game, but I don't know what you guys think. I mean, like, if I go and say Broken Blade's done a lot this game, I think I'm being disingenuous. He has just been on a ride. He's been riding his bicycle, playing with the village boy up in top lane, Mirwin.
I think he's done what he needs to do.
Exactly.
And that's like...
That's a fair statement.
He's done well into the matchup. He's put pressure on the map where he needs to. He's helped go for a lot of these dives. Like, this is all you really need Broken Blade to do. And I think, again, it kind of comes back to it's been G2 playing the map better to look for dives, look for plays that got Hans Sammer gold, and then better set up at the objectives.
Yeah.
That has actually net G2 this win, and that's where Broken Blade will be involved in those map plays.
Good context.
From my perspective, I feel like the game has just been super close throughout, and it really was just that one Dragon fight that really defined it. And I want to go back because I feel like just Jojo's positioning there was ultimately the downfall. He was knocked back alongside Mirwin when that engage from the Rel came through.
Remember, yeah.
And I think that if he'd lived a little bit longer, maybe there were ways for Koi to be able to turn that fight around. But you just can't deny that G2 just played the fight better in that moment. And you called it Hans diff, both in a literal Hans diff and a figurative Hans diff in the fight.
I just always like when you be a hindsight Andy. You know, it really goes with your mantra and who you are.
Yeah, exactly.
It's kind of your place, isn't it? 3 seconds to look at foresight Andy as well, because Baron's coming up, and Baron is just the way that they siege in. There's a problem with the Sivir, but Baron makes most of that go away.
It definitely helps, at the very least. The inhibitors are going to be respawning, and you can see in the bottom left of your screen, the mid one in about 30 seconds. So G2 are going to want to do as much damage as they can, but I imagine they're going to be forced to have to remove these inhibitors once more. Dragon is in a minute away, but I don't think they need it with this kind of a gold lead and with the Baron at their backs.
LeBron looking for an engage. He wants to source with that flash in. He finds it. Magnum Storm onto 3. Cap sends the wall down as well. Alvaro's pinched in the corner while Oyoya is sent packing. Flashing over the wall after Bear Trap on the rope while Hans Sammer's going to clean out the diff in the back end. Jojo, the last remaining, really standing in the way of G2 and yet another grand final, at least from a Game 1 Andy perspective. An ult from Mirwin to get out of dodge, but G2 have the Nexus in their sights.
Super was eviscerated in that fight. He just disappeared off the map, not even being given the chance to flash away as the Nexus now opens up.
You don't want to say that was an easy game, and it wasn't. It's disingenuous, but in the end, Hans Sammer is ending the start of this series with 13 kills. A shutdown over to Jojo, but G2 are looking hot.
That was incredible from G2. The early game, very back and forth, but once G2 got control, they never let it go.
Game 2 coming up right after this break. Our region under fire a little bit. What does the quality of league look like? Our 2 world representatives out of 3, here they are. Show us something big.
I really do think that game 1 was a good showcase from both sides, though. We saw a lot of good stuff. Dagda talked a lot about how it felt around these objectives. G2 just played around their pressure that they had on lanes better. They were able to get first on a lot of objectives, but Koi did some great stuff on of their own, like punishing the positioning of G2 in the mid lane by using the Sivir ultimate to get a pick to then secure their first strike into the game, the way in which they reapproached a lot of these neutral objectives, especially when they were able to sneak away a single grab on the top side. So I think there's a lot of promising things to take away from both teams, and we'll see how things develop as we jump into game 2.
I think MKOI will be a little disappointed, though, that they end up with this big lead on Supa that they couldn't capitalize on, because traditionally that has been their strength, right? They get a stranglehold in a game they do not let go.
Yep.
Unfortunately, though, just not able to keep pace with G2.
Oh, nice.
But we're seeing the invades on both sides. They handshake the wards, they spot out where people are, and they'll back away.
Oh, we're getting player comms at the same time. Hello.
I do wonder if that's just us or if that's actually going out.
So they could have this.
Yeah, I'm gonna miss my then.
It is going out.
I'm gonna start blue.
Okay, well,
I mean,
We're going to get it.
hopefully that will disappear very soon.
I always wanted a quad cast. I didn't know we'd get 13.
Okay, the voices have
Voices
gone.
in my head have stopped.
Great.
They never stop for me. Now, with the fans sharing their sentiment, we begin. For Caps, lane's already going well, as you'd expect for the Orianna. A quick side note, you know, we had
I
that.
love how you say he's 1 CS.
Jojo's at half HP at level 1. I'm going to say Caps are doing good, you know, like, as you expect. I did also want to mention that obviously there is a Conqueror on the Renekton, so no further delay. Broken Blade has got it right, and I'm looking forward to this lane as well, because Broken Blade picked this into the Yorick, and I feel like, again, there is ways to get out of the Dark Possession, which is the most important interaction.
What I'll say is that we've cast League for a long time, so Renekton to me is just a champion that was just such a mainstay for so long. But in fairness, we really haven't seen that much Renekton, so it's kind of a treat. A little bit. Just a little bit.
Really?
We really don't get Renekton that often.
Okay.
And we're only going to get to see him once, you know? So we won't get overwhelmed with Renekton in the top lane.
I mean, yeah.
Do you know how many Twitter battles have happened over just Renekton existing?
But the Twitter battle started because it was a B1 Renekton.
Ooh, Jojo.
Jojo. Let's ignore that.
No, Jojo.
Jojo.
No,
Oh!
Jojo.
As soon as he Justice punched forward, I could tell you in a heartbeat that was flash or kill, and it was both for Caps.
Caps off to a fantastic start. We talked earlier about how we saw this matchup last week when Jojo played up against Poby, and a similar thing happened. Level 2, Poby came very close to solo killing Jojo, but he was able to live. This time round, though, pushing the wave as deep as he did, he wasn't able to escape to the safety of his tower, and it's Caps that secures first blood.
It's also so nice for Caps because you TP back with your early tier, and you're set up so effectively now to just farm that up and get to a point where the Seraphs is nice and early. Skewmon now on top side.
Wait for the Ruthless Predator, wait for the Fury as well. Broken Blade has it in hand for the W. The flash commits, but it's late with the pillar finally coming out. Broken Blade can't get much more damage down. Culber Meek finally, but
Elyoya bot lane.
a bit mistimed as the dive in reverse. And the 2v3, the pop away is nice. Alvaro almost dies, and his flash is burnt. The dive stops there, and both sides survive.
Good interrupt from Lebrov. Ends up punting away Elyoya, so he can't get anything off the back of it. So Hansam and Lebrov survived the counterplay, you know, on the top side.
Here we go again. Ruthless Predator once again. That Rain of Anger management's nice. Slice and Dice now maxed out, and Broken Blade puts Mirwin low. No mana either. The Biscuit's being relied on here to receive this wave.
The swap quickly coming through from MKOI, and just great play from both junglers. I love the aggression from Elyoya threatening that dive on the bot side of the map. Execution doesn't quite go the way that they want because, as Dagda highlighted, that nice response from Lebrov, but also a great flash from Mirwin very early on to respond to Skewmon's aggression to avoid him losing his life as well. So both junglers looking to be much more proactive here in this early game for game 2. But now the swaps have come through, supports find themselves in mid lane, and the map will start being a lot more dynamic.
I do wonder how aggressive Skewmon wants to get on this bottom side, though, because now... Oh, hang on.
It's an interrupt as well. Caps, no shockwave available. Otherwise, I'd say there'd be a bit of trouble. Jojo kites back here from the command attack. And as supports move away, it is top lane proceedings. They are just going to clear away some vision. Maybe just give safety towards these AD carries, yeah.
I was just going to say, Skewmon has an opportunity if he wants to abuse the fact that Mirren flashed in that last play. Even though he burnt his own, Broken Blade can still set up the play, but now Jojo on mid, he has no flash.
Oh man, no flash and a Justice Punch, that's about it. Labrov just out of range. So Elyoya also covering. So granted, he wasn't in any real threat there, but you can see G2 are getting very proactive around mid.
I think that if Caps had had a little bit more mana, they really would have tried to force that. But now that he's level 6, Jojo has to be extremely careful.
Elyoya on the way as well. They want to make this play happen.
Alvaro going to snip in. Remember, Caps has no flash either. On the edge, he's knocked up. Shockwave brings them all in, but 3 won't matter. The pop away, Labrov! That 1-for-1 was nice, but remember, Caps is the one who pays.
That's the thing. MKoi ended up getting the kill back, but it ends up going to Labrov, not the target that you wanted on. Whereas for MKoi, they end up picking it up on the mid laner for Jojo to try and even out that early kill.
I just love that MKoi aren't slowing the game down in any way. With this Pantheon, you want to be making plays on the map. They know the Caps has no flash, so why not help Jojo out? Good punish on the Caps. Nice play.
TP.
Super's now the target.
Over to Super. That TP won't save him in time. It's slow. Flash away and Super's down a summoner.
Summoner's being burnt across the map as Alvaro arrives top lane to assist his AD carry. The base going to be interrupted. So a bit of an advantage gained as we just continue to see action across the map and keep my eyes on where the junglers are.
Justice Punch in, onto Caps, shield of Durant, gets the stun, Jojo gets the trade, but Skewmon's not going to show yet. And remember, no level 6 for the Trundle means as well he can't start shredding Jojo down for the one shot.
The early Spectre's kill here makes this matchup a little bit easier for Jojo as Hansama on a ward.
On a control ward, that TP was so they know that Labrov is teleporting in. MKoi pulled the trigger. Really nice use of information. Remembering that you see TPs on control wards, even in the brush.
All right, it's time for the flash track. As we look across the rift, we'll see Mirwin no flash, Elyoya no flash, Jojo no flash,
Elyoya
no
needs
flash.
Elyoya needs flash.
That is an important summoner to take track of. Elyoya trampled down. Hero's entrance from Jojo helps out, but numbers right now still an advantage of G2. Alvaro makes it even as look towards bot. Dominus has been popped. 1v1, flash away though. Broken Blade has lost the minion wave, so that heal won't do a damn thing. And even though he's got a reign of anger, it's Mirwin bringing down the shovel. One more last right to send him into the dirt.
It was the counter match that BB wanted, but he didn't want to take the hands that Mirwin had. And MKoi starting to find the success that they want in these early stages.
Super almost caught out in the meantime as well. We're getting chaotic here in this second game. I asked for a banger, and I think already we're starting to deliver. Alvaro interrupted midway. A pillar up as well. This Rakan needs to battle down the wave, and that too is interrupted. Separated from Jojo, and a shockwave to bring him in. A chomp down, and the feats of warfare claim. Jojo goes back in. He's trampled, but he's safe near the turret as G2 are bringing pace in with this cow.
I mean, this is what we wanted. A clear difference to what we had in game 1. Aggression across the map. A solo kill for Caps, a solo kill for Mirwin. Action aplenty in the mid lane. Both teams going head to head, but it is Skewmon to start off this objective. Yeah, I think just one makes the most sense for him. Just grab that one grub when he has a chance. Labrov, though, eyeing up mid lane.
Caps healed to get out of range. Shield of Duran connects anyway, but there's the flash again. Labrov, these engages are gorgeous. He bops him back towards G2, and this is a donation cow from Labrov.
Jojo didn't even have a chance to flash. Labrov immediately engages, and he just got caught out, trying to fake pressure over towards the Void Grubs so that then Skewmon would leave, but ends up getting his life in now.
Ulti from Super, he's going to pop it while Elyoya is coming in as well. Big minion wave, Phosphorus Bomb clears it out, but with the Gatling Gun and Barrier, Hansama still drops. Super, Elyoya get low. Labrov is on the way in again, but he needs his jungler. Skewmon is so far away, as in the end, MKoi get the kill and get out.
That's a TP to top lane from Caps, as MKoi get themselves a kill onto the Corki. They're also able to donate it over towards Super. So funneling resources into the superstar AD carry is definitely what Koi want to be doing. What's crazy is that, you know, the question around, like, has there been action mid? And the answer is yes, as Elyoya secures a grab, but the fighting doesn't stop.
Subjugation as well from Skewmon. Shockwave brought back in, but I didn't think it really connected. Elyoya is still dead, chomped down, and Caps picks up the kill. This mid-jungle duo is just there first, and grubs go down. better than not, G2 get 2 for 1.
Also, this Orianna just being accelerated is going to be so terrifying as the game goes on. Top side, though, it's not over.
He's doing it again, but this time onto Jojo. Shielded Duran, zoning him out. Lebrov, though, trampled on. He might die to the winds of war, and does. You know what? Lebrov has had a killer game, but he had to mess up somewhere.
A misplay from Lebrov as he takes 2 tower shots to make that play happen. Jojo, though, holds his patience. He's able to outplay, and then he gets a kill back for himself. It is G2 with the gold lead, but my goodness, it is a bloodbath at the beginning of game 2.
Hans is walking into Fog of War. He controls not Valkyrie out just in time. Dragon is up, and MCoy now with the retreat from Hans Summer are looking to start this objective. G2 coming to punch a fight, but Broken Blade is so damn low. Maiden chunking him out a little bit. He's going to have to TP back in if they want to trade this Dragon.
Yeah, this matchup is not going the way that I think Broken Blade had intended. And now he finds himself at not a significant deficit, but definitely behind. Dragon is alive. This is still our first Dragon of the game, mind you.
I think if G2 weren't winning out on other parts of the map, like when it comes to like the Orianna getting the early leads and Trundle getting this early lead, I would be more scared of Mirren having so much control in the side lane. But if MCoy ever get control of the game and they're the ones that can set up for this 1-3-1, this is going to be a disaster for G2 because Broken Blade is just burning gold, I'm sorry, bleeding gold on the side lane. And there's just not really any response apart from overcommitting to a side. But when you've got this Galio and you've got the Pantheon that can respond really effectively to any side lane threats towards Mirren, if G2 lose control, they could very quickly just lose out through this topside matchup.
Damn right. Dragon, though, for the time being, going to be taken, started by G2 and just completed. Using this time, Lebrov gets deep vision in bot side jungle as well. I'm going to have to expand the minimap. Maybe I need glasses. Yeah, there is one ward right there, by the way. I have to look. The fact that I had to make the minimap bigger, that concerns me. I need to eat more carrots. Damn, the screen's not even that small. Okay.
The lane assignments are pretty interesting as they've actually put Hans Summer in the matchup against Mirwin. They've now got the Renekton into the Galio, which does make a lot of sense on paper, but you are putting Hans Summer in a very dangerous position. Look at the damage he just takes from the ghouls. As Alvaro is hovering around, that deep ward did spot Alvaro pathing towards the bot side of the map. Now Hans Summer, he really wants to make sure he's not losing access to farm. And that's why it's very important that Lebrov shadows him, and now he has made his way towards the bot lane as well.
The morning mist hits and Hans Summer just getting chunked by 4 cats. And the Panda Lady, look at his health. He just lost almost half on top of what he had.
But because Lebrov is forced to cover for Hans Sama in this matchup, it means that it just opens up both Alvaro and Elyoya to do whatever plays they want.
True.
And that seems to be on the bottom side of the map now with Elyoya having ult and Alvaro in position to look for the dive. G2 have to abandon all hope in this bottom lane.
Keep your eyes on the minimap though and notice that Caps keeps shadowing into the Fog of War as well. Kind of having that half roam so that he's in a position to potentially move should some action kick off. But he doesn't want to concede all this midway farm as well. Super doing a good job of just holding that wave, keeping the pressure up, working towards his second item. With no major objective on the map, this is really the best play that both teams have available to them. And I think it's Koi that is that driving force as now Super making his way to top lane.
Shielded Duran's going to come in. Broken Blade's got nowhere to go. There is a Dominus available. It's going to come late though and no heal. Super takes it with ease, and Broken Blade is having a rough game too.
Just really well played by MCoy. They forced G2 to over-index to save Hans Sam on the bottom side thanks to Mirren's pressure, and then they just play on the opposite side. It's really well push and pull play from MCoy, and G2 are struggling, and again, it's all coming off the back of the way Mirren is playing on this Yorick.
Koi is being super proactive with the pressure that they have, and now with these resets coming through, they're going to get some nice purchases just ahead of the Rift Herald spawning. Mirren may have overstayed his welcome. Can he outplay this situation?
He does that flash. Morning Mist onto Skumon slows him down. The Maiden coming to help out, but Mirren's low on mana. Outside of the Baby Rage Cage, Dark Procession now down, but with a headbutt in the air, or rather pulverized. Lebrov, even after a trample, doesn't commit further. Mirren takes a while to die, and Hans Summer was too far away.
Gets away with his life. And Mirren not too upset about that one. He has the TP available, so he can catch this wave, go back to base, spend what money he has, and be ready for the Drake fight. It is G2 that have slightly better vision around this bot river, but we're seeing some resets come through from them as well.
I think the problem with investing 3 members of G2 at the bottom side to kill the Maiden, MKOI get to push out and move in towards this top side of the map and get vision for the Rift Herald. Now, they have been a little bit slow in establishing that because Elyoya was only moving up towards this top half and no real vision to speak of for himself or Alvaro, really. But still, MKOI getting the waves in the favor if they want to look for this objective.
Also remember that Caps, he did start off this game with a really nice lead. He's been involved in every single kill that's happened in the game. 2-1-3 scoreline. Sorry, he's been involved in every play that's happened in the game. I'm with you. Right? But he's now, like, he's behind in experience because Jojo's just been sitting in a side lane. He's gotten 2 kills of his own. He's closed the goal gap significantly. And a Galio that's behind an Orianna, I mean, that is a really nice place to be as you transition into the mid-game. That Herald is now an objective that's available for both teams to play for. It's G2 that's first in the topside river.
It's worth an item check here quickly as well. First, all across the board, looking towards the second and what really matters. A Yorick in the side lane. Mirwin is going to commit and just play the long con. He's got TP down and he's got an open bot turret while Broken Blade is considering moving up, now moving back down to match.
The problem is, though, they actually, hang on, we're going to get the big trade.
Now, Wife is down. That's the only advantage here for Broken Blade. The wave going to get crushed, and Broken Blade can clear this with ease, so not the end of the world. Super steps up to Hun. Summer chunks him with a Q at almost half HP. The re-engage on the Super, forces the flash. Now for Labrov in dangerous territory as Redemption heals up and does a little bit on the edge to Skumond. G2 walk away, but a bit of a chunk after the play. Ignite down as well.
Yeah, MKOI have been able to hold on to pressure in this mid-wave because Hans Samo shifted up to try and regroup with the rest of G2 through this topside pressure and Caps against Jojo.
Durand under a turret, though he's safe for now, and G2 are walking up.
Jojo's got to get out of here. 3 members of G2 have set their sights on him, and he's going to be able to justice punch away as the rest of MKOI are actually starting off this Herald. Of course, remember the ulti from the Galio. Jojo is looking.
And they're going to turn straight away. Forget the Herald. They look for the play. Skumond is low. He has the ball on him as Alvaro goes for the engage. It's deep, but G2 take a chunk of damage while Herald goes down to Pantheon. That's Elyoya. He picks up the eye while Shockwave was not used. G2 just couldn't find the angle for a return.
MKOI get exactly what they wanted while Mirwin just continued to put pressure on the bot side. Remember, there's a risk given that he used his TP to get back to the bot lane. In theory, G2 should have been able to generate a numbers advantage. But with the sheer amount of pressure that this Yorick was putting in the bot side, it forced Broken Blade to stick around. He didn't have a good TP timing. That tower would have gone down. It looks like it's going to go down anyway. And the Dragon is available as well. Koi is playing with their pressure beautifully here in game 2.
And look at Caps' health on the top side. Like, you cannot contest this G2 because Jojo joins and Caps can't really do anything about it. Looking for the reset now, both mid lane.
No flash on Super.
See how quickly MKOI played. It's with that no flash on Super. It depends when's Caps going to come in. The TP now from MKOI brings out first. Caps a little bit later. Hun Summer gets chunked. Redemption going to heal MKOI up to full. It's great as Jojo gets over the wall with a shield of Durand, gives Super the reposition, and as he walks it back again, the engage is in. Shockwave finally there. The poke good as MKOI lose Alvaro first. Hun Summer focusing on Super as Caps helps out with the distance. Phosphorus bomb. They survive. Meanwhile, MKOI play it front to back with the rest of the fight. Mirwin comes in. Dark Procession not going to find a lockdown. His Morning Mist also missed. And MKOI on the Dragon still. It looks like the right side of the fight went damn well.
It ends up 2 for 2 off the back of it, but it will be the Dragon going to MKOI, and a huge amount of that was off of this exhaust from Labrov. Barely clips it onto Super as he goes for that killer instinct into the back line. And it means that you just don't get that assassination potential. And Super finds himself on the wrong side of the fight.
It felt that the fight was quite scattered because at the start of it, you'll see that Super looks like a prime target, but you called it, Hysterics. The Orianna just isn't in a position, and it's awkward for the Renekton as well. So it starts with a 3v5. Koi chunk out so many members of G2, but they don't actually secure any kills at the very start. And this is where things get chaotic, because now Koi is split up. They're fighting fights on multiple fronts. And this is where Mirwin just provides that resolution. The damage that he provides in the 3 versus 2 near the Dragon, flashing to try and secure a kill onto Caps as well. I think that fight could have gone very wrong if Mirwin didn't arrive in time, because I feel like that Koi just didn't quite have the damage to secure those few kills needed to swing the fight so heavily in their favor.
Now, though, you've got that 3-kill Yorick going into the Broken Blade, and when things were bad, they're only gone from bad to worse.
Oh, absolutely.
This side lane is just going to be absolutely hard.
He's also got Merc Treads as well. Remember, Morning Mist is the AP damage. Like, that Q, that last ride is so damn strong with its physical damage, and in this game, Broken Blade doesn't really have much to go against it for now. MKOI, it's not the only thing going well, as mid turret is an easy charge. Super's going to take this away, and Ladies and gentlemen, it feels good right now for Spain. 2K in the lead. Mid is open.
When we spoke to Jojo and Alvaro on the Euphoria podcast, one of the things that they said to us was that they wanted to be faster, because sometimes when you're playing against these international teams, it feels like that you're just being suffocated, that you just, anytime you try to do anything on the map, it feels so hard to respond. And this is a great example of what they're talking about. They are just relentless. They are constantly looking for plays on the map. They just took a mid tower. Bot is continually sieging. They're now moving with the pressure that they have in top into the top side river.
They're going to get caught for it, though. Alvaro turns into engage, and Jojo slaps down. A great hero's entrance, shielded around on 2-man as well. It's the tanky members, but still, as Broken Blade comes on in, G2 trying to turn it around. Successfully for now. Mirwin comes in, Broken Blade survives. A re-engage there as well as Super gets to the back line. But he's going to be dead for the chase down of Hans Sama. The auto secures. Lebrov survives, and they turn that on a whim because everything was used on Skumond and Lebrov.
And just as I was praising them for the pressure they were putting down, G2 finds a way to respond. Credit to Broken Blade for that very early TP. The fact that they created a numbers advantage before the Yorick could arrive allowed for G2 to come out ahead in the fight, secure themselves an Arakan, and all of a sudden, the momentum may have shifted into G2's favor.
And it looked so good for MKOI at the start. I love that Alvaro baited it with that charm to get the engage, but Hans Sama gets good damage onto Super. Caps is in a great spot to follow up onto this, and as Betty called it, the Broken Blade with the early TP directly into the middle of the core members of MKOI set up the spice alongside a great pillar from the Trundle to deny Super really being able to escape away or kite back in that fight.
It's another game where 80 carries out trading off in these fights. 3-1-3 and 3-2-1. Super, 2 items and a bit. Same can be said of Hans Summer. So they're both threats again in this game. I do feel like Skumond, great ulti, keeps him alive in that tank on tank battle. He survived long with Lebrov, and G2 with the turn have put this game near even mark after MKOI were leading 3K.
I mean, we talked a little bit about it in that first Dragon fight where I was saying that I feel like that this fight could have gone quite wrong for MKOI just because of how close it ended up being if it wasn't for Mirwin. And so when G2 find fights without Mirwin present, you can see without a lot of the gold presence how dangerous it can really be. So I think that KOI need to be quite careful with how aggressive they're being. As right now they're being shepherded by G2.
It's also just how quickly Jojo can go down if he's subjugated by Trundle. Like, all those resistances that usually make you a good frontliner are just gone. And after that, if Mirren isn't there, you don't really have a strong frontline apart from Pantheon with that Aegis Assault. So if G2 can find these moments where they subjugate the Galio and can pick off Alyoya, there's just nothing left to protect Super.
My eyes, if I'm MKOI, would entirely be on Mirwin, just enabling him to just be this constant threat in the side lane. Playing through 2 lanes. Of course, they've already secured the tier 2 tower in the mid lane, but just, he feels so immovable right now with the amount of damage that he's able to output. He is a little bit squishy, I will admit. Level 15 only has the Bramble Vest for defensive itemization, but I feel like the amount of pressure that he can generate should set up for an easy Dragon that has now made its way back onto the red.
We're grouping up mid for the time being. You mentioned the Dragon would be number 3, but number 2 for either of these teams to pick it up. There's no Baron to align with it, but it looks like MKOI are going to give it up in favor of top turret and getting some deep vision in the lead up to the Purple Worm in the top lane. So G2's...
Did he just flash?
He flashed away from Caps. No, that was before. That was a replay.
I want to say that that was a
replay.
Fat finger or a misclick, or maybe he was typing a flash or something and
maybe he forgot WSD's not in the game yet. He was using WASDA or WASADA as we call it.
But that's a mistake. The flash not being available for the potential flash taunt from the Galio. Now unavailable. Thank you, observers, for bringing that to our attention.
Thank you.
Because for the rest of the map, flashes are plenty. In the early game, flashes were permanently on cooldown, but now the game has slowed down a little bit, 24 minutes in. Baron, a minute away. I don't expect that to be the next main objective, but it's important to recognize that KOI have an advantage of 4 towers to none. G2 has not, they've barely been able to touch towers. I think it's the top lane tower that's really at the lowest point, and that's because Jojo just spent a lot of time solo in that top side. So even though G2 did find a good fight around that top river, I don't want anyone to be convinced, like, it is still KOI's game. They are the ones still being the driving force, and they're the ones constantly putting this pressure down onto G2.
I think as well, once he started to get super towards this this AP, and he's able to provide a little bit of that poke, trying to contest mid wave as Sama gets a little bit more dangerous, and there is, if you can control mid, the opportunity to go for side plays.
Pantheon ult. LEC just ulted in top 15 seconds before Baron, trying to force out Caps and get that flash or get the ulti, but neither achieved. Super. Gonna get face checked by Skumon, doesn't care for now. Pillar's out, but it ends there. Alvaro looking for an engage. Mirwin's trying to pinch this movement with his Maiden, but for now, Quickness going to start us off, and the hero's entrance onto Sama. He's knocked up, he's stunned up, he flashes away. Mirwin on the chase. Get away from me! Han survives, but now they don't finish the job. It takes Elyoya, but is the time worth it? For G2, they're getting chunked down. Elyoya re-engages the fight, and Mirwin plays it back. Super did the same, and it came close to being a whoopsie. But in MKOI, we believe.
They make the dive work. Caps now isolated against Mirwin. He's the last man standing. Koi is looking for the final kill.
Exhaust. Caps flashes and dies to the Maiden. That's an ace, and that's MKOI's victory march in this game.
Massive turnaround play from MKOI, finding their moment to make that pick happen. Mirwin, great roam towards the mid lane. And at the start, I got a little dicey for it, because Super got stunned right as he went for the ultimate. But still, MKOI able to make it work. We just see it off the back of this, where the pick is perfect onto Sama. Mirwin just chasing him down, and as Super goes through, just ends up getting stunned. Just thanks to Broken Blade as he goes in, so doesn't quite get the damage, has to flash away. But regardless, you just don't really have the damage to follow through with Sama gone. And Elyoya and Jojo providing a fantastic CC chain to set them up so the rest can knock them down.
I think this just really demonstrates the difference with when Mirwin is there, how much value he provides in the fight, doing so much damage, running Sama down, not giving him an opportunity to have any impact in the fight. Koi finding a beautiful pick and looking to equalize this series 1-1, a 7K gold lead. Again, they're yet to drop a tower. And this is why I really wanted to mention earlier, yes, G2 did get a good fight, but they needed so many more good fights before they could swing the game back in their control, and Koi just would not allow them to have it.
Does feel like we've got an interesting game 2 on our hands. It looks like an equal game state, and at least series, right? It's definitely not equal in this individual game. 8K gold lead. Skumon going to get face checked here, but Elyoya is controlling this whole side of the jungle. G2 getting pushed back, and we are approaching 8.5. This turret is definitely going to drop. G2 going to think about a fight, but with Mirwin getting that demolished proc, how easy it is for this Yorick to walk up versus 2, versus 3 at this point in the game.
And as soon as they're able to get this shove on midway, it gets really difficult for G2 to try and defend, because you can so quickly shift Galio to mid, shift Super to this top side, look for potential dives, keep up pressure on the map, and just begin to outnumber G2 across all these 3 lanes. And the dive potential when you've got like Jojo or Elyoya onto some of these squishy members is very, very high.
So now it's simply the waiting game. Dragon going to be spawning in 30 seconds, but of course, for Koi, that's not really going to be that instrumental. Denying it away from G2 will of course be a nice thing to do, but their siege will have to be the next point of contention. And the problem is the siege from Koi isn't the strongest. They're quite short range overall. Their best play is to leverage potentially even the Maiden in one side lane, maybe even overstack with 5 in mid, and then use that side lane pressure. But a 4-1 with a Yorick is probably their best way to kind of break into the base. They still have about 30 seconds left on this Baron. Let's see if they can expose an inhibitor.
At least we'll get the push in and then move to Mountain Dragon. It seems to be easy. This is really dotting the I's, crossing the T's at this point as G2. They've fended them off from their base. Okay, they've kept MKOI from breaking down the structures inside, but as the Dragon will shortly be taken, I'm sure, as that next Baron comes up in 3 minutes, it's only a matter of time. It is such a risk to even walk outside the base right now as Alvaro spots Skumon.
They're just going to let Elyoya solo it. They're just going to keep up pressure where they can, and G2 unfortunately just don't have the pressure on the map to try and look for a quick snap engage and make something work in their favor.
Quite frankly, I'm really happy to see this performance from Koi.
Yeah.
Of course, game 1, a couple of their objective setups I think were, well, not handled in the best way, but game 2 they've just bounced right back. I've loved the way in which they've used their pressure in their side lanes to just kind of keep the foot on the on the gas, as one would say in America. And the foot on the pedal. The pedal, I don't know. I couldn't think of a British version of that.
Foot on the accelerator.
That'll work. Yeah, good one. In any case, they just did a good job, is my point, at playing the game much faster. And while they did have that bit of a mistake around that top river, ultimately it's been a very clean game overall from Koi. And again, 6 towers to 0. They haven't dropped a single tower, just proving how difficult it's really been for G2 to kind of put that pressure back on Koi.
And I do want to echo what you said earlier. Like, it's the quick engages, the keeping the pace up, constantly putting pressure down. It has really been what MKOI have tried to work on over the last few weeks of the split, and it's coming to fruition here. And I think it's great to see, because I think this is the team in our league that almost always benefits the most from going to internationals. Like, obviously G2 does well, but like when it comes to what their takeaway is and how quickly they can implement it, so often it's MKOI who are coming back. And I think it says a lot about, you know, the rookies that are on this squad. Or, well, not rookies, but like second year players. Like, they are so good at adapting and growing, and I think it's only the start of what is expected to be incredible careers for some of these players.
We're so used to saying it. It's just because, like, you know, these are not names that, like, household LEC fans that have been around for longer than, you know, 2 years would be used to, right? They'd be used to the old Mad Lions roster. They'd see Elyoya and go, oh, yeah, he's still here. But outside of JoJo, like, who else we got? And it has been a brilliant 2 years. And there's been ups and downs, but I think that's what makes a great team. Coming from the Shy fan, there are amazing players on this org that sometimes disappoint, but when they hit the highs, they hit it so damn high. Like, Super's a great example of that. Mirwin, you can see in this game alone, but you can see in many different games. And Alvaro with Elyoya, one of the best support jungle duos, if not the best in the league. Showing up against G2 is not only a great sign, it's a great sign of the night we have ahead. G2 are trying to elongate this game, give their Orianna, who now has Rabadons, a fighting chance, a Corki the same as well. But
he has Rabadons and they got half-healthed by a bunch of cats. It's not going well for cats.
It's definitely not. With the hat, we need some armor as well, I guess, and maybe this is going to be a Zhonya's coming forth, but who knows, who cares? It's Baron o'clock. Elyoya has GA, and they're on the top side of the map. 5 seconds, and G2 are going to try and walk in and stop the inevitable.
JoJo's going to be the focus here as Broken Blade tries to go. Skewman still has Pillar.
Yeah, so he can't ulti out. JoJo, he can't TP out. He's going to be chomped, and they're holding the CC. He's going to shield a Duran. Alvaro turns it into an engage. Elyoya is here as well. Teleport from G2 to bring the fight in, but Han Summer has to run away. The ulti from JoJo sends in deep. He goes golden. The shockwave brings in super. Wait, MKOI are getting low. They're going deep. A knock-up galore. G2 are winning this fight, and MKOI need to get the hell out of there. Mirwin running for his life. Broken Blade gets caged up. Slice and dice. Flashed away from another stun. Elyoya kept in place as Han Summer walks up. JoJo doesn't have a flash, or rather he does, but doesn't want to go back in. Mirwin can't bring the cats out, and as G2 chase down this fight, MKOI, like me, like you, thought that this was impossible.
It looked impossible, it felt impossible, but somehow G2 find the fight they need with that shockwave, shutting down Super where he stood.
Koi is so frustrating to watch.
Betty is a bit tilted.
Because, like, JoJo's just, he's sitting in a top lane, making it so easy for G2 to just play for him when they could have, like, disengaged. Like, the Baron is just wanting. The timing is dreadful for Koi because it's given G2 an easy way back into this game. Like, he survives for so long. The engage comes through and it CC's Han Summer. But, like, look at how scattered the fight is. The TP now comes in from Mirwin. G2 gets an opportunity to regroup, and Super just goes in way too deep. He tries to 1v4 effectively on the backline. He's forced to flash immediately, and now so much of the damage disappears because you're so reliant on Mirwin. But he is now just forced to retreat. They know they don't have the numbers. And it's a frustrating sight to watch because you're right. This was Koi's game to lose, and this is the fight that could very well lose them the game.
Again, though, just an insane prediction from Caps on the shockwave.
Yeah.
Like, he catches the Kaisa mid-killer instinct, and if they'd kind of coordinated for Han Salmon, like, Valkyrie forward and look for the play, maybe, but he just catches it. Now G2 sieging on the mid-wave.
Now remember how much standing gold there is for G2 as well, because they haven't taken a tower yet this game, and now they're quickly going to convert it into 3.
It was 7k gold lead at the end of that fight.
It was
and
more.
Now 3,
it was like 9 almost at one point.
I mean, at the end of the fight was 7.
Oh,
now
true.
it's 3k. Like, this gold is just completely vanishing for MKOI.
Now they're going into the Mirwin. Mirwin, he's isolated. Can't G2 just...
But wait onto me when the cage comes out. You're right, he is isolated, but he's dead before Jojo gets to ulti in. Alvaro, he's ulted in. His Pantheon ult's there as well. Hansama is just firing though. They say kill Cap, but he's shockwave on his death knell, and he doesn't even ring the damn bell. G2 have been given the Hail Mary, not once, but twice.
Koi just collapse. Mirwin in the river, isolated, dies before Jojo can even arrive. They thought that they had killed Caps, but they didn't have the damage. And just like that, the game is going to be over.
I cannot believe G2 are ending this game. Only 3 minutes ago, they were being sieged in their own base with a nearly 10k gold lead, and now they're winning the bloody game.
In our region, in our League of Legends, the game is not over until that Nexus goes boom.
Just a massive throw from Koi. They slowed the game down too much, and G2 punished them. Credit for G2 defining that fight, but wow, what a...
Come up and come down now with G2 already performing out of their mind, and oh my God, Mad fans must be mad themselves after game 2. That was a rough showing.
I mean, I got lost for words.
Yeah.
Was super frustrating given the position that Koi was in, but the players just have to brush it off, and they have to now find 3 victories consecutively. They have to make the reverse sweep happen. Now, as a roster, this is the type of team to do it. They can get down and dirty. We know that they've got some creative drafts. But the thing is, you look at this draft, and I just feel like G2's got a lot of comfort. The Jackson to Gwen, we already heard the analyst desk talking about it. The volley bear for Skumond, he had a fantastic game on it against KC last week, where he was just doing serious damage on the Rift. We know that Caps is just so far having a great series. And ultimately, it'll come down to how much impact can Elyoya have with this Jarvan. Broken Blade.
He cancelled the fishing.
He's got 2 gold. He didn't get the magic 10. Ward put down. Yeah, so we're reflecting off game 1. Dag, did you meet anyone special between breaks? Did you hear about anything?
So actually, I ran into Noah downstairs, and he was telling me that watching the last game reminded him of playing against G2 himself on Fnatic, where they would throw games. so he definitely had a few choice words.
Yeah.
Shout out to the man himself.
Yeah, nice, Noah. Okay, well, that's the throwback to last year. G2 on match point here, and let's see how the matchup goes. Jax commonly picked into the Gwen, and I mean, this is a matchup that we have seen many times in the LEC. Jax players say that, you know, a weighted skill matchup, I guess, and Grasping taking the matchup. No flash here for Mirwin as Jojo doesn't get that last little overload. Caps, oh, I mean, tap dancing is Caps here in the mid lane.
He took E at level 1 so that he had that extra bit of mobility to sidestep Jojo. And then he used it there as well to block the electrocutes. Very nice trading coming out from Caps. He's a little bit behind in the farm department.
Yeah.
But kind of to be expected when that Rise gets to level 2. Meanwhile, Elyoya creating a split map alongside Skumond as he moves into the enemy jungle. And we're going to cut the map in half. So Hansama and Labrov going to be very isolated, but Mirwin with no flash on the top side of the map will be isolated as well. And we've seen Mirwin on Gwen before without flash be punished so heavily. So we'll have to make sure that he respects the positioning of Skumond and the potential ganks that can happen in the early game.
And I mean, that volley's going to send up Sky Splitter and just charge in under that W from Gwen anyway. So I feel like for Mirwin, it's going to be a very dangerous pass, and without flash against a volley bear, I am scared for his chances in this isolated map. Now, junglers are going back to their own side for the time being, so things normalize a little bit, but I say that Alvaro, doesn't get rooted up, does burn his heal, has Spellbook, so it's not the end of the world, but for G2, it's a nice trade in this lane where they're already down on CS.
It was lucky that third feather didn't connect. I thought that was definitely going to be the ruse. But Alvaro managed to escape away from it. Still, this is going to be good pressure now for G2 on this bottom side. Broad trying to see if he can land the Tango bars, I thought. As Volibear making their way down. Both junglers here on this bottom side.
Hans hit, waiting for the Mystic shot. Trying to cut around, heal burn. Labrov flashes, misses the Tangle Barbs. In comes jungle pressure. Elyoya spotted first, and quickly after Skumond gets the Scuttle Crab on the way in. But it is no summoners on Labrov, so it is a slight win for MKoi.
I mean, Skewmon did get the crab, though. So, yeah,
Okay.
you could argue.
It's an even trade. It's no flash for Nico.
There's a world now where Skewmon could double crab, but it looks like he's going to go back to base, and so Elyoya is just going to run towards his top side, go and grab the Scuttle Crab. But just in time for the Raptors respawn, Skewmon is already going to be back out onto the map, and so a small jungle lead going in favor of G2. We'll see if that really amounts to much. But Jojo now has to be very careful because of what Elyoya needs to do on the map. He wants to get that last minion. Yeah, now he's going to go back to base. And wise choice, just backing up a little bit more so that he can respect the possible gank that could come through from Skewmon.
Now, I want to quickly talk about the bear, because I think Volley Bear is just, I mean, he's been in a good spot, this place for the longest time. The frenzy is broken healing, and Sky Splitter has one of the most highest damage profiles out of a level 1 ability. It is a Cosmic Drive looking to come through it first with the Aether Wisp picked up, but normally we're seeing the builds, and especially out of people, even like Elyoya in jungle and solo queue, are going for things like the Iceborne Gauntlet into a tank build with an AP item. So it is either the Hexblade or it is the Cosmic Drive. So it is a fun build, and again, like, for Volleybear, he's one of the greatest duelists and has great AP in his kit. He is just so strong on one item with his full chunk.
Let's see how much he can get done. I still think if he ends up going in for a play and Elyoya is able to counter, you can find yourself in a bit of a difficult situation when it comes to the CC that can be provided and that turnaround play. And especially as level 6 starts to get hit, could end up getting locked down as...
Nice trade back comes through from the G2 bot lane as Alvaro loses about 60% of his HP, but Super still staying healthy, landing some nice Qs himself. Does have a very slight gold advantage over Hans Sama.
Skewmon coming in. Wait for it on all fours. Jojo gets stunned up, flashing for the Sky Splitter, and like I said, there's the damage. Tibbers looking to finish off Jojo on the run, and the bear cannot catch up.
The pot's doing wonders there for Jojo, keeping him just above lethal, as 2 flashes were committed to try and make that kill happen. But no first blood will be given over to Caps this time around.
And what we have seen this series is Alvaro and Elyoya going immediately towards those flashless mid laners when they have a chance. So I'm curious if we get another play towards their Super though. A little bit of a trade on this top side against Labrov means that Alvaro might have to hover top side here to let Super farm up.
And look at Hans, he is now getting really behind in terms of farm. He's taken some pretty poor trades against Super and has been forced to go back to base. Broken Blade also catching this wave means that Elyoya, with really good control over this bot side river, should be an easy objective secure for him. With the grub spawning in a minute's time and both bot lanes on the top side of the map, you imagine that both teams will be setting their eyes on this objective. But the first one going the way of MKoi, definitely a good way to start things off.
Definitely is. MKoi need all the help they can get in this game, at least for momentum's sake, as face checking in, Tangle Barb's going to get Jojo, who doesn't have flash, and Cap stands there, gets the stun down, but the damage is lacking for the time being. Skewmon has just pulled his Sky Splitter out, and that's the end of the trade.
Even if they don't get the kill, I think it's still worth to go for these quick fights around mid, because Elyoya being able to flash in on Caps, CC him, and then set up for Joe to follow through with the root will be a dead Caps. So even when you're just making these quick plays, it's about keeping Jojo pure and honest. So then if he ever tries to go for this aggressive trade in mid, Caps has the opportunity to turn around in a one-on-one.
Here we're getting some beautiful trades against Broken Blade. Just maximizing the stacks on his Q to go for these quick trades, even through the E. Mr. Mirwin with a nice health advantage. Broken Blade doesn't have TP. Oh, he's going to cancel the base.
The thing is, Mirwin still has Ignite. We talked about it early. He's not flash, he's Ignite Gwen. If he gets anywhere close to a solo kill or forces out Broken Blade with the wave pushing, that CS lead is going to grow. He's got to step up to the turret, full snip and full effect. Broken Blade has to be careful also with the Gwen ulti up and available. Oi at the edge, good teetering there, and Broken Blade just walks out of the range.
I mean, the laners from MKoi are just doing very well here in Game 3. Objectives going their way as well with the first dragon, and this is going to be at the very least 2 grubs. They're looking to make it 3. Skewmon is alone here, given the top wave is pushed in. Labrov is going to arrive late, and there we go. 3 grubs locked in for Koi. So a fantastic early game here in Game 3 when the pressure is really on.
Not just the pressure, but I'm surprised, you know, a bit of tilt from last game would be expected, but so far MKoi have really shaped off what Game 2 was and started this game in spectacular fashion.
Zupa's just doing such a good job at denying Hansama the ability to trade back. Just playing so well around the range of the feathers. And now with Alvaro up in his top side, going to see what they can do in a good trade here.
Going to go in. Lebrov doesn't have level 6. Alvaro does. Tempered Fate up and available. Cosmic Binding, slight miss there is trying to get those blooming blows out. Lebrov now gets level 6, so he has that big ulti opportunity. Next fight to use it is Dragon in 245, so it might just be within the lane. Cap sends out Tibbers. Simply for the chunk, Jojo stands and sets up his wave clear while Alvaro comes nearby.
The cavalry there immediately. Both Alvaro in the river and Elyoya behind him in the lane. Mewin though, look at the way he's positioning. Traditionally considered a counter matchup, but with no early gank, Broken Blade really hasn't gotten his footing in this matchup. A nearly 500 gold lead being built for Mewin just in the 1v1, with a 25 CS lead now being accrued. Mewin doing a really good job, similar to what we saw in game 2, where Mewin just got the better of Broken Blade then as well.
He did.
That might change as junglers make their way into the river.
Scumon's going to be an award, but Mewin's already committed forward. Now the needlework is out. Counter-Strike gets the stun up. Good damage, flash away. Broken Blade disengages, but Scumon needs to finish off the kill. We need to see the Sky Splitter in full effect, but Scumon doesn't have flash available. He can't get in range, and Koi don't expend a thing apart from that ult.
It does set up for Broken Blade to get this bit of a freeze, which is why I wonder if Merwin actually stopped the reset. No, it does fully commit.
Teleport.
TP back, because a minute 40, you can actually use this to get the bounce off that tower and then be back out pushing for the next
Take him
one.
up. Pop Blossom as well. Is the burst enough? That's the problem. The burst is not there, but Scumon does have ulti. Jojo paying respect, steps it back, receives the wave.
The Catalyst providing Jojo with enough HP to survive the play from Lebrov. He comes in using the minions as a disguise to catch Jojo off guard, and while it does work, they just don't have the required damage. So once again, Broken Blade under a lot of pressure here. Elyoya shadowing Mewin to make sure that he can just do whatever he wants in the 1v1.
Still taken relatively low, especially when we're looking at Dragon in just in a minute's time. We need to try and crash that next wave and get the reset, and I don't think Jojo, Kiona, and Elyoya will be able to shadow him this entire time, as the rest of MKOI actually look for the resets. So it might be a window of opportunity for G2 to try and finally set up for a play on this bottom side.
Broken Blade's ult's almost up and available, by the way. Well, we are looking at mid for the time being. Just remember Mewin's chunk. Might come a moment too soon as Needlework is almost up, but I feel like Broken Blades will be up first. The bot lane is resetting, getting pushed in. And MKOI are getting kept in isolation in these lanes, which has been good for them. You guys already complimented and said that MKOI's lanes are great. I mean, they continue being great. Mewin has maintained just about on that 20 CS lead. It's actually 20 as we speak.
Watch the Nico in the bottom lane, though. Just swapped into a minion, is now starting to move in on towards this bottom side. They want to try and make a play towards Mirren, and Mirren's in a bit of a hard spot with Dragon just up. Jojo now chunked. He needs to stay on the map, but it looks like just going to be Vision taken for Lebrov instead.
Lebrov has been spotted. If you didn't know already, he's been spotted. Counter-Strike in. Broken Blade doesn't full commit. Cosmic finding out. A couple of autos. Lebrov steals away minion again, but Dragon has been started.
Keeping my eyes on Elyoya, and he's making his way over, but Jojo, no HP. Caps is being zoned away from the objective, though, but I still think it's a difficult contest, and yeah, there's going to be an objective secured.
He's so good at solo objectives, man. He just hits away at it. It's like Grandmaster at Arms onto Mewin. The snip's out, but Broken Blade has his number. Scumon's coming in just in case to bring the storm down. First blood over to G2.
Slam dunk for Scumon. Flicks off the tower, turns off the lights for Mirren along with it. And now correcting a lot of this bottom side for Broken Blade as well. Still a sizable gold lead for Mirren, but at least helping out in that regard for Broken Blade.
Yeah, surprised to see such a late first blood with these two junglers on the map, but it's been difficult for Scumon to really find a good play, and Elyoya's primary goal has been covering for his laners that have been coming out on top. But now, a bit of an overstep from Mewin in the bot lane. He didn't have his jungler in the vicinity, and that results in first blood going the way of G2.
What a breath of fresh air for Broken Blade, who I feel like 3 games, really, there was an even Sion game there, but last game we talked about this game as well. Mewin has really had his number, and Ignite was also used in that trade, so Mewin now summonerless until his TP comes back up and available. Broken Blade will have a flash. And Scumon being on the board first, that's a gold lead for a jungler who's even as well. That is a dancing bear that is fake. Elyoya spots that out as he goes to the cross. While Broken Blade getting more confident in the matchup now with Trinity Force.
I thought that Scumon was fishing for a play in top lane. I saw him on the minimap hovering around. But I have a feeling I may have been baited by what is in fact Labrov disguised as Skumond.
Yes.
And now the Raptors being stolen away. Algoya will yoink those. Tower under siege in the mid lane. MKoi again demonstrating the pressure that we saw in game 2. They've got push in mid, they've got push in top, they're stealing away camps. They're just constantly doing something that forces G2 to react to them, which then just gives them agency over what they want to do on the map. But now that kind of pressure has to ease up as the minion waves fall. They retreat a little bit, but Alvaro continues to maintain control over that topside river. And Skumond forced to just go through his jungle and get what he can.
Play towards Caps.
Okay, slow is there, but it doesn't get the wall. That Cosmic Binding a little bit far off. Pop Blossom in response. It's a two-man going golden. It's a self-ult from Alvaro, but he's still going to die. He flashes away. No! What? I didn't see the Realm Warp on the ground. There were too many particles. As Mirwin, meanwhile, gets forced out with the needlework down.
Jojo does a good job getting the Realm Warp, and now Mirwin needs to get on out of here on the bottom side of the map. I was about to say, I think for MKoi, as long as they can look for plays in lanes and avoid going for any sort of play that's in a 3v3 to 5v5 situation, they're fine, but they end up running into G2 and now looking to contest this Rift Herald.
Ginch, though, for the time being. Missing shot hits Labrov. That's nice here.
Mirwin just TP'd bottom as well. Broken Blade on reset means he could TP into this play and in behind MKoi.
But Alvaro's coming in without a Tempered Fate. MKoi dash in the wind here with Herald going back and forth. And what I mean is that they have to be careful about where they place, so they're going to get blown aside. Reset on the Herald. Is it buying time? His biggest question is G2 hover around.
They don't want to contest.
Okay.
Caps has no ult, so they're just going to back away. Broken Blade now starting to get some good trades against Mirwin.
Oh, it's really good trades as well. Enhanced auto coming up. There it is. The snip still connect, but Mirwin is the one lower, and now that matchup is starting to take effect.
Alvaro there with the redemption, though.
Thank you, sir.
The heal, going to be refreshing for Mirwin, who is the one exuding all of that pressure in the 1v1 earlier, but now needs a bit of a refresher himself. Alvaro going to pay a visit to this matchup, and we'll say to Broken Blade, hey, you need to ease off. Let Mirwin get what farm he can. Look at that, dropping him 2 iced coffees in the bot lane as well.
Apparently hot chocolate. I called it a cup of tea. I got rinsed. it's a cup, guys. It's just a cup of tea with a marshmallow in it.
How can you be a caster if you don't know?
It's
what
winter.
Tea and hot chocolate.
Look,
gentlemen, there may be a bear on the loose.
I think indeed. That's an easy stun. Sky Splitter again. Not even needing a Thundering Smash. Broken Blade gets a kill, and Mirwin disrespecting where this bear is on the map, while meanwhile Super steps up to this. The feathers are out, the flash is in. Hans up looking for the solo kill. The feathers up. Oh! The bird of prey. Hans Summer takes down Super, who stepped up to the original king. Tempered Fate catches him adrift now. Elyoya's on the way in with a Cataclysm. Hans Summer knows he's dead. With a root up, though, he's trying to take another body down, but Elyoya trades off the kill. But it all started with Super's ego.
I mean, that felt personal. Hans Summer turned to him and said, gonna interrupt my back? All right, well, that's gonna come with a cost. He gets himself a solo kill onto Super. But the good news for Koi is they do secure that tower in the mid lane. Let's look back at this play.
Yeah, I mean, you call it, right? Going forward with the Arcane Shift, but you get the Ghost and the speed up on the W, and with the Flash forward, able to get so many of those. But this was gorgeous. Oh. Managing to connect with the feathers, and then unfortunately the slows coming through and the CC with the ultimate just enough to get there so that an Elyoya can turn the kill around.
Almost out of the Tempered Fate as well, but just on the edge. And Hans Summer does what he can in the end, but no.
You thought that he had that.
Yeah.
He thought, yeah, I can kill this Jarvan.
He saw the root and he's like, hang on a minute, there's damage, but unfortunately it's close. However, Hans Summer with that kill, Yuntal, Navori Flicker Blades, 2 items Zaya. And G2 is starting up this Dragon. This will make Dragon number 2. I mean, I am worried when we saw MKoi's first 10 minutes in lanes being so good. The fact that we flipped around and like Fabio, old mate, says, G2 are cooking. G2 in this game 3 are cooking again. Alvaro gets a stun up. A bit of damage from Jojo, but it's not enough. Broken Blade's going to kite it back to the turret, and G2 get Dragon number 2 with a resist that's that.
Yeah, I want to echo what you were saying, Hysterics, just because it felt to me like Koi's laning phase was just getting the better of G2.
It was really good.
They had full control over the early objectives. They got the first Dragon, they got 3 grubs, but then there was this turning point when Skumond got that kill onto Mirwin. Now all of a sudden that Broken Blade into Mirwin matchup wasn't as bad anymore. Skumond now feels like he's having more presence on the map. Hans Summer is able to match and then gets that solo kill as well, and all of a sudden it feels like that this game has very much swung in the favor of G2. But taking stock of the whole situation, Koi definitely not out of this game by any means.
You can definitely see, though, G2, how quickly they're starting to shift across the map. They put pressure into bot, forcing Mirun back and Oyoy to respond. Now they're covering for this top lane play, as Broken Blade has a teleport to try and move in here if he wants to as well.
Okay, gonna get knock up first. Nice flag and drag. Cosmic Binding doesn't connect, but True Shot Barrage is beautiful. Skewmon gets out of there, getting heavy chunk from Super. Nothing up, and Skewmon can just Frenzied Maul here to get some health back in his own jungle. Red buff will also be on the menu next, but MKoi trying to add some pressure to open up top turret as well.
You're in a little bit of an awkward spot as G2, though, because as Caps is matching on bot, has wards if he wants to try and TP him behind, and they're full committing his end.
Hunter has his ult, he's going to pop it early here, and doesn't have his flash available, but he does have a root back. TP in from Broken Blade. Herald gets the charge, the turret dies down and getting in. Elioya was saved, but the quickness, or rather Counter-Strike, ends his world. Tempered Fate onto 3. Now that Elioya's down, MKoi getting out of there, and the Tempered Fate probably saves the rest of the follow-up from G2.
I don't know why Elioya went to get into the Herald. They could have just walked away. They got the tower, but in trying to get in, he just drops into the waiting hands of G2, and everyone at MKoi had already disbanded, so there was just nothing to follow up on.
I think his plan was to use the Herald to get the knockups, but I guess he didn't expect the Herald to die as quickly as it did, because we see this engage, the tower ends up dropping, and you can see here, like, it gets so low, and then once it falls, it's so difficult for the rest of Koi to really do much off the back of it, so they're just forced to retreat.
He's worried about Hans Summer there, but you're right, like, it doesn't work out well. Artican now the starting thought, and G2 as they begin this. Crucial Price is going to come on down, and that's going to help out, but MKoi need to get their hustle on bustle. Super gets out over the wall. There again is another Sky Splitter. Elioya's on the way at 5k. A flip for Artican. He takes a magical journey though. Looks for a reposition. Broken Blade coming for a flank using the same journey. Counter-Strike is now down. Pop Blossom in. It's a 3-man from LeBron. Broken Blade is still in the thick of it though as he's kiting out. He's not dead yet. Artican still goes down over to Hans Summer, but now MKoi have a chance. Out with the ulti from Skewmon as Hans Summer gets another root. It's capped. Laid on top. Super gets out. Then he arcane shifts over the wall. MKoi trade even, but it was Artican on top. That makes it so worth for G2. What is happening? Elioya's going to ult these Sky Splitter damage down. Skewmon just walked past him and was like, hey, there was a weird interaction.
Yeah, we're starting to get a little silly as G2, they go for the Rift Herald, but they end up over-committing because Hans Sama sticks around to try and finish the Rift Herald as the rest of G2 pull away. I'm amazed that MKoi have a chance to get back, but another pick onto Skewmon at the end of it. Just kind of weird moments here from Skewmon.
My goodness. I mean, ultimately, though, Koi turned the fight in their favor. They do, of course, lose the Artican at the end of that exchange. But the fact that they were able to get a few picks, we look back at this fight.
Yeah, but watch Hans Sam at the top here. So he goes super low because he ends up just being forced to solo the rest of Artican here because Skewmon pulls off to play with Jojo. So this is effectively a 4 versus 5 where Broken Blade has already gone in super deep. So Mirun and Super have to get a ton of damage on towards him. Now Hans Sama joins in already incredibly low. And the fact that they managed to get Albro was a bit of a blessing. I thought at that stage they pull off with how low everyone is, but then catching Skewmon just wandering through River was another gift for MKoi.
No, I think you're completely right. I didn't spot Hans Summer in the initial play, but ideally for G2 they would have finished Artican and then converted it into a fight, but they thought that the angle was too good that they forced the fight early, but it ended up just creating this disconnect with which Koi was quick to punish. Koi finding weaknesses in some of the G2 play. If they can continue to capitalize on this, an easy way for them to get a firm footing in this game.
The problem is right now the footing feels loose for both. Gold lead barely there for MKoi. The Artican picks up, and again, it's invisible gold. Hans. Yeah, okay, I get it. And I think Hans Summer in this game has benefited the most, obviously, off the earlier kills, but G2 have double dragon. It is third, now coming up in 10 seconds. Elioya just picked up Black Cleaver and 2 items really across the board. MKoi need to be here, but look how late they are coming out of base. They need to take those...
There is no portals there.
I mean, there's no portals, so I was wondering how they're getting through. They took a Bard portal, but they're too late. Dragon is gone, Elioya.
Is he too late?
Prove me wrong! It's taken by Skewmon, never mind. It's third dragon, needlework, Cataclysm out. Hans Summer caught in the middle of it. He gets a root out, but surely he must die. Alvaro unfortunately picks up the kill, so MKoi get 1 for the quarter dragon, but they were too late in the end despite the 50-50. G2 on sole point.
G2 still hovering around to try and defend this tower. Broken Blade pushing in this top side. I don't know how much they can try and commit for this. Sama, I think good call not to burn the flash. He was just happy to sit there and go, look, I will fall for this dragon, but we get to play it now, Jojo.
Okay, with the root up as well, Pop Blossom slows off anyone else going golden. Time is bought. Skumon on the way in, though. He's going to get his smash down. Exhausted down, doesn't get in range. No stun up as TP from Broken Blade. Then matched out with a counter-strike. He zoned off everyone of MKoi. This fight not looking too good as the mosh pit of G2 is just harder. A Cosmic Binding slows down the play with Broken Blade in with a hill, a league strike, a Tangle Barb that misses from Lebrov. Jojo's able to walk it out. The Sky Splitter once again zoning off Albro as G2 keep getting small resources. Gold's going up. G2 are getting blood.
This game is getting scrappy. Like, it felt to me that Koi wanted to keep G2 bot lane so they could allow for Super to push in mid and then collapse onto mid to secure that tier 2 tower. But then G2 says, no, 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 we're not going to allow this. We'll force an engage onto Jojo, and then all hell breaks loose. TPs start flying in, the fight starts kicking off, Koi don't have the numbers, and while G2 do get themselves a kill, Super secures a tower in mid lane.
But that's the thing, right? Because the one winning lane that G2 had was Super. So even, was Hansama. So the fact that Super's managed to even up the gold is now slightly ahead has actually kind of helped them out. And even though they did end up losing, you still got some advantages across the board. The only thing is with G2 now on 3 dragons, this becomes really difficult now for MKoi to try and fight because the defensive stats that you're getting from this double mountain, plus a potential third in 3 minutes times, that could be just get lights out for MKoi if they're not able to fight anyway in this engagement.
The reality of the situation is that Koi have the goal lead. You just see blue lines at the bottom of your screen. But in terms of the itemization, it's really not that different. Nice chunk onto Super from Broken Blade. The thing is, though, that the dragon spawns in 2.5 minutes. In that time frame, Koi should be able to complete a bunch of their third items ahead of G2, given the gold advantage that they do have, which means that they should have an item advantage, setting them best up for success. And that next dragon fight, I think, is going to be the turning point in this game.
Okay, he's out. He had Molten Shield as well.
I mean, 2 levels down as well for Caps. He is not going to have a good time, and it doesn't look like G2 will here either.
All the pinch, game-changing. Tempered Fate misses, though, onto Hans Summer. Mirwin's there. He's going to be rooted up immediately. The feathers fly, but Hans so low, and he's matched with the range. Pause. A pause at the start of the fight that looks like MKoi can get Baron off of. That is a huge pick, and I'm sure there's another one to follow. Skumon is so low.
That was an insane flank from Mirwin.
I think it looks like Hans. I see a ref over at Hans's PC. We'll get an update for you.
I mean, he had flash.
Yeah.
So I mean, something had to have happened.
I think he popped it mid-air, didn't he? So
no, he never actually used it. So he ends up popping the ultimate, but never flashes away.
But he has tools, by the way, if you're wondering.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully we can get a replay on screen as well. But basically, he ults, and I would imagine that he would want to flash into the red pits.
Yeah, and get away, right?
And then get away. But he didn't end up flashing away.
Do you think he flashes then he ults, or
no, because you can just as you're falling. I'm pretty sure you're allowed to flash just at the bottom end of your
you can
Xayah
flash
ultimate.
at any point in time in the Xayah.
Yeah, I seem to remember. I don't have a huge amount of Xayah experience myself, but I mean, like, you can see him quite describing.
Yeah. We know it's there is obviously an issue there. We're going to give you official information. They're conducting ready checks, but Hans is still talking to the ref there. One moment.
Yeah, either way, like, this is such an important fight.
I mean, it's absolutely massive.
I have been given confirmation the monitor was about to shut off for Hans Summer. I believe it's Hans, yeah. So the monitor was about to shut off.
So you get that little logo on your screen that's just like power saving mode.
Push a button,
push a button,
I mean, that is distracting. That is distracting.
It's also probably the most valuable part of your real estate on the screen, which is the middle of the screen.
So we're going to find out what happened. But if the game goes on, which you assume for now, that's a big pick. Baron's up. We just talked about a dragon.
No, absolutely. I mean, you lose your AD carry ahead of the Baron.
Yep.
Like, you've got Caps running in. You've got Jojo already TPing in.
I think Skumon might be dead as well, by the way. I mean, he's so low. I think Mirwin can send it past Lebrov. Like,
I mean, Skumon's HP right now is basically next to nothing as well. Like, it was, credit to Koi, I thought that they were going to just wait, but they found a great angle and capitalized on it. And I think that regardless like the play in and of itself was a good one from Koi.
100%,
And because even if they don't get kills, the damage done should still be enough to convert it into a potential Baron play, which is why this is such a significant moment in the game.
And it would be, I mean, look, as casters, as talent, as fans, we're pretty much all on the same side, right? Like, we want to see competitive games. We want to see good games. And to, you know, beat a dead horse last game, like, we should have an equal series, right, with how that game developed. G2 insane comeback. But this game 3, G2 are finding merits, but still MKoi playing with a bit of a lead. If this opens things up, again, we see MKoi with a massive lead, able to stop that dragon stacking, and maybe, just maybe, we have a proper series on our hand as well.
Okay, just to give a bit of
You're laughing
context.
at the old chat,
So
aren't you?
basically, it's Broken Blade and Mewin having a very professional discussion.
Yep.
Mewin, you can see them typing on your screen right now, and Mewin is saying, "Hello, Broken Blade. Perhaps we could get some information on the issue." And then Broken Blade's like, "Information will be provided if allowed." And then we're just having a bit of banter back and forth. Broken Blade being very professional, Mewin equally as professional.
The problem... Are you ready for the reveal? Yes, please. I can't say, sorry.
He does clarify that we are carefully investigating the situation.
Yeah.
Thank
Yes.
you. And then Mewin wishes him all the best.
To be honest, I'm glad
That is
Broken
good to
Blade
hear,
is
he
on the
says,
case.
Yes.
Like, if I was going to
Very
trust
professional.
anyone with this
And if I could ask for anyone's support, it would be Mewin's. So,
True.
you know, really,
True.
you've got the best combo on the case.
It was nice before the game. There was support towards each other. It was actually quite,
truly
you know,
wholesome
tame.
between the two top
And
laners.
look, we don't normally like tame. I know Law was like asking for more out of them.
I mean, on
feel
the
like-
Rift, it has not been tame.
No, it's not.
It has been quite violent,
But-
somewhat in favor of Mewin.
But that's always nice.
A
isn't it?
shovel was involved.
And in this third game, scissors are involved. He likes his tools.
No, he
Sion-
He's just a
Sion
gardener
has an
at heart,
axe.
you know?
Yes, a gardener.
He is a gardener. He had a lumberjack axe, right? He's cutting down trees at first.
It's true.
And then he is digging graves, or, you know, doing a bit of pottery or planting, sorry.
Yeah.
And then game 3,
That went from
he's
dark
he's
to
a
kind of
seamstress. No.
That's what gardeners do. We chop trees, we plant plants, we dig
Dig
graves,
graves.
and then we chop that we prune.
The dead are great compost, all right? Every gardener's secret. Now, I have been confirmed. This is a big confirmation. We have a chrono break coming in. We will chrono break to before the fight. To confirm, chrono breaking before the fight. I have no more information than that. Anything else?
Yeah,
I'll
we don't
keep
have
you
any
updated.
timestamps of exactly at what point
This
in the
is-
game
this is
they
the
will
official announcement.
return to. But, I mean,
So there was obviously something with the Flash, right? But without speculating, we don't know. So all we can say is that if it's before the fight, you know, it changes the whole game landscape. Like G2 maybe don't go for the fight. Mewin maybe doesn't go for the pincer down. I don't know how they react to
I mean,
this,
again,
so-
I think that regardless, Koi will force this fight because the damage that can be done, given the positioning of G2 just before the fight started, means that even if they don't get a kill, like Skumon right now is at about 20% HP.
True.
They just need to replicate that, and then they can already threaten a Baron. Of course, with Broken Blade, not quite in the fight, with Caps not in the fight, those are potential threats that could make a Baron secure a little bit scarier.
Damn right.
But in the same vein, Jojo, level 16 on the rise, not involved. He was in the process of TPing over during the play, just as the pause is happening.
Yep.
So there's this big collapse around the Baron. This is a big pivotal moment in the game. And ultimately, it's all going to come down to how well both sides execute. As Hysterics mentioned, we're going to get a chrono break to before the fight. We don't exactly have a timestamp on when that is, but my expectation is that Koi, they're not going to change anything. They're going to make the play happen. They're going to try and force the fight, and they're immediately going to turn their attention to the Baron and put some serious pressure onto G2.
Oh my god. Tolkien's just coughing it. Okay, bro, sorry. Bro, how many stink signs have we had in the audience? Like, Cadril smells, Tolkien apparently smells. Where's the BO? No one's got that bad BO. I've smelt them all, trust me. Everyone smells great.
Excuse me?
No, you know what I mean. In passing.
I don't know what you mean. No.
Don't drive me into the pit. There's innocent.
You're the one that dug the hole, bro.
Right. Look, everyone smells great, okay? That's all I'm leaving it at. I don't do it on purpose, but if people smell, you can smell them. We got Yumi with
That
a gun again.
Yumi needs to have a conversation with you after your previous comment. Okay.
Bro, I'm not talking to that cat, okay? That cat needs to go. not just from the studio. That cat needs to go from the game. 2XK, new champion, Yumi.
No.
Yumi can be the next fighting game character.
I don't need that.
But you gigantify a giant cat with a book.
But think about how broken that assist is going to be.
Oh my god.
In fact, she can only be played when you play the solo mode, the Juggernaut.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
She's the assist. That's what.
The combo was her just flying through the air. That's a lot of text. Hang on, paragraphs. Let's read.
It's the "I'm sorry that happened" or "I'm really happy for you" response.
Okay.
Just to follow up on something we said earlier, maybe you do need glasses, Jake.
No, but it's small writing. No, I don't wear your glasses. I think I'm going to hold on to my my pride for a little bit longer. Or eat some more carrots. I don't know what works.
The world of contact lenses like me.
Oh, yeah, that is a good idea. I mean, I'm 30, and at 30, you know, as I said to Vetty the other week, it gets a little bit harder. You know, Vetty, you tell me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 32. I do know.
Oh, dear Lord. Sorry.
It shocks me that I'm older than you.
It does not for me. It does not. Sometimes I imagine, like, you know, you imagine what people do in their spare time at home, and I imagine you with a rocking chair knitting or something. I don't know.
What? I mean, that is what I do.
Is it actually? Really? I mean, I would also imagine, like, you know, what games you play at home. I imagine you sit there, but on a rocking chair. It's always on a rocking chair.
I see.
Even though I've been to your house and I know you don't own a rocking chair.
Should we speak?
I don't.
Or should we just let him continue to monologue?
So, like,
Sorry.
I've worked with Jake for a long time.
Yeah.
And oftentimes it's more about, like, understanding how much, like, leeway to give him, let him run free. And then when you need to, you call him back like the dog.
I'm like,
I see.
I'm like, you know, in Berlin, people walk their dogs without leashes. But I'm not the dog that walks like, I'll sniff something over there. I'll go over there.
But we've learned enough about your sniffing behavior, okay?
I'll eat things as well, okay?
So you're an Odo Omne streaming loss, is that what?
Yes, I am. Me and Odo, you know, I think we understand each other. I think it's been years of understanding each other. We just never met till this year.
I see.
You know, I was a big fan of him in you know, for many years for a big reason. I never knew why either. It's the same as Finn, actually. But I'm not sure where Finn fits into this conversation. I don't know if there's room for three of us. Now, Chrono Break is happening. If you're wondering why this conversation's happening...
We are too.
It's honestly, it's just another day in the office. Apparently, the desk wants me to stop talking. Go ahead, Shox.
My mic isn't even on. Well, it wasn't me, bro. But yeah, I know it always sucks when you come to the desk in the middle of a game. And I gotta say, so we will Chrono Break the fight. I'm still waiting to get like exact confirmation on the wording of what happened. But I think I can say definitively, if that no, we can't, because that's how that works. You cannot say definitively. But that looked like a fight, allegedly, where MKOI actually grasps the game back and possibly is set in a position where they can win it.
I mean, it's past Baron spawn. You've caught the AD carry. That's a hell of a moment in the game, particularly given, I think, the status of things. You know, I don't think the Gwen was necessarily working out the side lanes in the way that they wanted to. Fantastic flank there, though. This realistically should be a game-breaking play.
Well, this was a good pick by MKOI, and I'm curious to see like how it will play out. But of course, it's a tough situation to be in. You never know. Like as you said, Shox, we need to get back on the official confirmation. But I mean, we're just waiting for that right now.
Regardless, like I mean, you know, you got to roll with the punches, but it's always the question, when is it going to be rolled back to? And I think it's like you're working with theoretical information, because did this actually happen? It might not happen again. But for MKOI, they were on the back foot in that game, right? Everything they tried didn't work out the way they wanted, but it wasn't that bad. And this is actually somewhere where they saw the play and they acted immediately, GB.
No, I agree. Like, Mirwin's got top push and he's moving first. It's not being communicated fast enough by BB to the rest of them. They're getting caught by a Bard ultimate. Caps is stuck on bot side right now. He's not in a position where he's TPing first. So yeah, it's a really awesome play.
Yeah, sucks, I know.
I don't know. Like, I don't know what to say.
No, yeah, I'm still waiting for wording, just like you guys, indeed. Otherwise, you know, for G2, they're up on match point here. So, I mean, this isn't me saying you should never pause. I think you should always pause if something goes wrong. Absolutely, right?
In fact, you're pretty much obligated to.
You're obligated to pause.
Realistically,
and also,
if everyone follows those same rules where there is something which might affect the outcome of the game, you're obligated to. You have to at that point. It's not necessarily on the players.
Yeah, and for the other team, it's always like, Finn, you've been in this position, right? Sometimes you may feel that, oh, this isn't ideal for us, obviously, but you got to roll with the punches.
As a player right now, what's in your mind is you sit there in your chair, you relax, and you try to focus on what you can do. As a player, that's always what you're thinking about. You gotta stay optimistic, and you gotta just realize, okay, this is what we're doing. I'm sure the players right now, a million things are going through their head. They're thinking about, what about this play? What are we gonna do next? What happens if we corner break? What happens if we don't corner break? I think they're just gonna re-hone on what's happening, what they can do, what's in their hands, because that's what's most important, and it's paramount that they keep their focus, because I think that's what really, like, that's just what matters.
Is the belief like back, even if you replay this play, like as MCoy, you know, oh, I actually exactly know how to get the momentum back in this game, or does that not track anymore because the game state completely changes?
I mean, okay, so the hardest thing as a pro player when the game is paused is that you kind of forget about what's happening in the game a little bit. And right now, they were kind of in the fight.
You can't talk also, right?
Yeah, you cannot talk. You can only communicate when the ref allows you to communicate, and you're sitting there in your chair just waiting, keeping that focus laser sharp on what's happening on the map, what's going to happen in 1 minute, what happened 1 minute ago. So I just kudos to the players right now. Just shout out to them. I think they're doing a great job.
Yeah. I don't actually know what to talk about without what's happening.
I
An
mean,
update for everything.
if I were going to give some praise to whatever's happened before this game, I would actually say that this is the game where I'm finally seeing Jojo show up. Like, this is the game where G2 keeps throwing punches at him and he keeps just negating them. Like, he keeps making sure that he's just absorbing all the pressure, like a sponge, actually, and the rest of MCoy is just allowed to actually do stuff. Now, unfortunately, of course, G2 has been running this game, but it's just talking about players I needed to step up, and I think in this game 3, I'm seeing Jojo step up.
I mean, also, to give credit to MCoy, to Movistar Koi generally, I usually feel like when I'm watching a game that Movistar Koi is in, even if they are behind, they rarely just lose, right? They always look for a window of opportunity to put it back in their favor. And I think I know it gets memed on that I said they have good instincts and they have a clutch factor, but it is something you cannot teach. And they definitely do have it.
No, and that's a great point. There are some things that you can't teach in League of Legends between 5 people and the chemistry between them. One of my favorite things about MCoy is that they are a very creative team. They have great chemistry between them. And that's why, you know, we had that quote up a little bit earlier from Super saying that, you know, in the past, MCoy were a team which not many people expected much of them. I'm completely on the other train of that now. I expect great things from this team because they have some of those intangibles about how creative they can be.
Let's talk about this a little because, of course, we don't know what's going to happen in this game, and they're still down 0-2 versus G2, even though like game 2, man, don't remind me. But for me, it has changed a little bit because I was definitely one of the, I don't want to say naysayers, but one of the people that them coming into that spring final, right? As you do, and people will say, because you're all biased to G2. Well, if a team has won that many titles with those players, unfortunately, you're going to give him the right of way in that, and I was proven wrong. And I've had an air of a feeling of, I think they're going to do really well. I think they're going to go back to those finals, GB.
No, absolutely. I mean, I do agree. I think that they're by far the top 2 team that's in our league, and I think it's between these 2 teams that we're watching right now. Now, back in spring, I will say most of us was on G2 because they obviously won that upper bracket, but there was one person who wasn't, who actually thought that no matter what, MCoy is taking this final. And as a matter of fact, that person is sitting right next to me. That was Finn.
It's true.
That's right. He's been picking them up since spring, and he's been the believer even today.
Finn, what did you know that we didn't know?
I mean, to me, what really impressed me with Koi is their clutchness. And as a player, I can really appreciate clutchness because you can't really teach that. Either you have it or you don't. And I feel like the fact that MCoy, whenever they get put in difficult positions, they always find a way to claw back in the game. They find the crucial plays, the crucial timings to maneuver on the map and find these just impeccable timings to kind of claw their way back into the game. Yeah, I think it was a great opening by them.
Yeah. And even with all of that, G2 have smashed MCoy and a lot of parts of the series too. The last game was a little bit of luck on their side. I think that they managed to clutch things out themselves in that late game too. But
hey, luck
I think,
is created.
Yeah, that is true. What was the thing is that the harder I work, the luckier I get.
The luckier I get. Or enemy ADC jumps into my shockwave.
Jungle gap.
Many such historical statements which we learn from these two. But no, G2 have definitely impressed me with the way to seize their own advantages in these games too. The question for them is actually, can they do that on a larger stage at Madrid as they go towards that in the future?
Yeah, that's a good shout. Of course, we will be seeing both of these teams at Worlds, and I think there's definitely already from this series, probably from Movistar Koi, a little bit of like, okay, we got to make sure that when we are in that position, I mean, patience was on that piece of paper written by our performance coach. We cannot be overzealous, especially not versus. This is G2, and I don't want to dunk on G2, but like we're talking about the best teams in the world when we go to the World Championship, right? And the LTA, of course.
But I feel like we're also asking a lot for players that are so young. Like when we were going up against some of these Eastern teams now, yes, they've had rookies come in, but these are like players that's been there for a long time now who's dominated the international scene. I, for one, can understand why in international performances, you're not always feeling great as an EU fan. But I do want to offer a perspective of hope instead, where you're seeing that these players haven't actually, in the grand scheme of things, played for that big of a time, long of a time, right? And I think when I'm watching some of the players that's coming into European League of Legends, from MKOI, for example, when I'm watching Skewmon, when I've been watching Naknako and some of the Vitality boys, like I feel like the future of EU, it's getting there.
Oh.
But I just, you know, I understand. That's like, I just like, I do feel like you can allow yourself to be hopeful, but I also understand why in the moment you can feel disappointed.
Okay. I have an official message from QC that I can read to everybody, right? Yes. Okay. So the monitors gave an automatic standby message before the fight started. G2 requested a chrono break. We assessed the situation impacted the team fight severely and accepted the chrono break request. We chrono break the game to 26-14, which is the most recent dead ball state of the game. Here we go. Casters? Yeah.
A flash and ghost away. The fight has actually started. Mewin gets pincered in. Broken Blade's also low. Jojo gets here with his root as well. Weird being thrown back in, but I think G2
kill him. Okay, nice. Oh, thank God.
Next. Now, Hans Summer did come back, and this time he got the flash and ghost away. And while he survives, 2 of G2 are dead, and MKOI going to start the Baron regardless.
And Betty, you were right. MKOI still managed to force that fight. They still managed to get the picks that they want. And this Baron is going to be huge for them in being able to control the game. But we're going to hop into the replay to see what happens.
This is what happened off the reset.
So, the initiation comes through, Hansama gets targeted down, he ults very early this time round, and then flashes away. But Labrov becomes the target. Broken Blade tries to assist Labrov, tries to get him to safety, but Jojo arriving to the fight is the key difference maker to the previous fight. His ulti generates a massive numbers advantage on the top side, they chase them down, and they convert it into 2 kills, making the Baron secure that much easier.
And so we come back to it, and even though, again, we had that pause and we had that chrono break, the game is exactly where we'd expect it to be. If the fight went well, and damn sure it went well for MKOI. 3K gold lead, and just to take track, there is still sole point here for G2, but in 45 seconds, MKOI now with the Baron have standing gold to take care of business.
And they're about to set up entirely on this bottom side. Humon's going to spot out everyone.
He's found Flag and Drag, he flashes away from. There's the needlework. Mewin has 2 more, he's going to send 1 into Caps, and eventually, Caps goes down to half HP. Sky Splitter on the way, but the Baron's still doing work as True Shot Barrage stops Caps. He has to back away, and MKOI are still sieging this turret. This is about to be a 4K gold lead. Jojo's also on mid. So not just Dragon Denial, but the game firmly in the hands of MKOI. Again,
look at
mids. Way dead to Jojo. PP flank, G2 want to find something here onto Jojo, flashes in with a Realm Warp, flag and drag, Honda Caps, he just burned his flash, he's stuck in the Thunderdome, and Super will take him down. Skewmon out with the ulti as well as MKOI with Baron. And those death timers, the base is in tatters.
Caps went for the flank, but with Hansama getting caught, he was completely isolated. And now it's G2 scrambling to save their base, but MKOI, they're on a demolition tear.
35 seconds, 25 on the 80 carry. Hansama not there, and this defense is going to be hard with the range from Super, especially Skewmon trying his best, but 1 Nexus turret falls immediately to keep this series going, to keep the chance of going straight to the grand finals. MKOI in game 3 with a bare Nexus. They waited a long time for this, but the Nexus falls, and MKOI get the series alive.
They quickly convert the fight into a game victory, closing things out so efficiently. A nice Baron, nice play. Koi find a game in the best of 5.
We're going to game 4, and MKOI are finally on the board.
They can get the better of G2. We'll see if they can continue the reverse sweep, or whether G2 will shut them down right here. We're getting late into this series, and we're getting to see some pretty interesting picks. A return to Tristana for Caps.
Yeah.
A champion that he became synonymous with when it was meta. It felt like that you couldn't CC him because his buffer timing on the W was just always perfect. Like, it felt like that no matter what the CC was, he always found a way to avoid getting hit by it simply due to the timing of that buffer.
Yeah, she's kind of annoying. I feel like Tristana is like one of the most annoying champions because it feels like you can interrupt her rocket jump. But then if she does it at that, what, 0.5 second margin, what a pain it is to actually press any CC on it. Okay, Mr. Funny name. I probably shouldn't say your name. It sounds like something naughty. Now, Caps on Tristana in this game is part of the double 80 carries we talked about with Hansama, but Skewmond, sole AP in the comp. Hard to itemize against it. I mean, this is the power of it. And you look at that draft on the other side. Like, do you itemize against double 80 carry? Of course you do. You're going to itemize against AP jungler? No. I've got a Ziggs, I've got a Jinx. So for MKOI, might be difficult if Skewmon gets ahead of the game. What do you reckon, gents?
I think it can be difficult for anyone who gets ahead of both sides. Barrier burnt already by Hansam in the trade as they go pretty aggressive to get to level 1. Both sides have insane turret taking potential and also the ability to just run you down if like Yunara is able to chase you down, especially with the speed up from the bailout onto Hansama. It's just a lot of it then comes down to like how does Elyoya interact with the lanes to try and get these early leads and win out. And I think that's where it becomes a little bit easier with the buy to try and set up plays.
Rocket jump with explosive charge as well. Reset incoming for Caps. He gets good chunk and rocket jumps his way out instead of continuing the engage.
My goodness. Again, I love watching these two mid laners fight up against one another just because they test the absolute limits. Again, you just look at the HP bars on the left and right side of your screen, and it's the mid laners that find themselves both insanely low. Jojo with fantastic accuracy on those Zig skews, really chipping away at Caps' HP bar. Caps going to get level 3 though.
Narrowly dodges that bouncing bomb as well. Early back here for Jojo to get tier in the matchup. Caps will receive the wave and then maybe match and do the same thing. Brov gets pushed here, handshake misses. MKOI hard up against the turret for now as the dredge line misses too.
So it's going to be the Dark Seal on reset for Jojo Pion. So probably going to go for that Luden's Echo build, just a bit more burst damage. Especially because, again, there's not a huge amount of backline threat here on G2.
Look at the clear speed from Skewmond as well. Elyoya was on Gromp once Skewmond had already cleared through his jungle. He's now looking to contest the blue buff. He has Smite available.
Grasping Thorns would be nice here, waiting for it. Smite is done. Elyoya dodges away from the grasping roots, but instead, now that he's out, I mean, he's just got to go make his home somewhere else. Top camp's already gone.
Well, he's got to go for the top Scuttle Crab. He knows that he can't contest the bottom one, and this is why, for a long time, we've seen Zyra be used as an answer into Vi. First of all, the clear speed. It's just so much faster in favor of the Zyra that you get to do plays like we just saw on your screen. And secondly, she wants to dive in. Oh, actually, she's threatening a dive right now.
Can do so from range as well. Super handshaked in, hit with AoE, flashes away. LeBron has got the handshake on him rather than bail out. He does get bailed out, but it's a trade in the end. 80 carried down as Skewmon stands his ground, and Hansama picks up the first kill.
They still managed to get Super as well, so he's going to lose out on all this waves. G2 got to be happy enough with that, even if LeBron couldn't keep his life.
You'd think, oh, well, at the very least, Super trades 1-for-1, so he himself gets a kill. But as you highlighted, the loss in experience, the loss in farm is going to hurt him so much in this early game. 480, well, basically 500 gold is the difference between the 280 carries now.
That's huge. Already, that is massive. That wave finally pushed in. Alvaro can't do anything about it. And a back timer here for Hansama in the bot lane. Lebrov has already used that timer to make his movement around the map and maybe set up the false swap or look for pressure through mid. Jojo still has satchel charge and Elyoya is there. You're right, Lebrov could be in danger. Handshake at, runs towards the fire, Vault Breaker in. But again, the follow-up isn't going to come through as Skewmon is also on the top side of the map.
Brennan making his way to the mid lane as well. If the Nautilus had been there as well, I think G2 could have fully committed, but a bit nervous as to where Skewmon was. Still, Caps being rained down on with these bombs. It's not exactly having the best of times here.
My goodness, Jojo just continues to be so accurate with these skews. Gold lead ever so slightly in his favor as he's built up a bit of a CS advantage.
And it's also because, again, the Tristana will get that range with time. But in this early stages, she has to walk up to the creeps, and Jojo's just doing a good job of using these range creeps to constantly land these bombs and making sure that every time Caps goes to get one of his own range creeps, he's getting harassed. And now MKOI in a really good spot off of mid-wave and can start to shift around once more.
Luckily, Cap's not going to be dove for now. Skewmon is in bot lane, level 5. Waiting in brush. Alvaro not going to face check. Goes the long way around. Elyoya moving in as well. Skewmon's going to go in first. Puts a control ward. Gets stretch line in. He face checked this brush and he gets whacked for it. Good vault breaker from Elyoya, but immediately disengages because Lebrov with a handshake. He's dangered too. Doesn't connect. Alvaro walks it out, but on the way down is also Super. And Skumon has to back off and pay respect.
Should be G2, or I was going to say MKoi being able to get vision towards this dragon, but G2 doing a good job of using those honey fruits to get the health back up.
Skumon hit 6, by the way. Skumon is level 6.
Yeah, I mean, this Zyra is quite scary. And notice as 2, they're zoning away 3. Caps is being pushed due to the wave clear coming through from Jojo. Bot lane going in favor of Hansama, though. He's close to level 6 himself. And it's G2. I feel like in game 2 and game 3, Koi, throughout the early game, was just playing with their pressure super well. They had really good matchups, and they leveraged that to convert it into early objective control. But here in game 4, G2 is doing it to them, leveraging the clear speed of the Zyra, leveraging the early advantage we got in the bot lane 2v2.
That's charge. Mega Inferno Bomb. Caps gets out of range. Jojo gets a heavy chunk of the explosive charge, now at half HP for both. Dredge line. Labrov walks in, he face checks. He's on chompers as well. This is easy auto attack even with the exhaust, but Super in the end can't reach the last autos of Labrov. Maybe the exhaust just saved his life.
They might threaten a dive here.
They're going to keep going on. Hansama has his Transcendence available. Skumon still with the Strangle Thorns up and available. The AoE is going to be a paradise for this Zyra. The Thorns are out. No Dredge line escape. Double knockout. Flash away. No trade yet. Hansama picks up kill number 2. And with plates going down, that is an 800 gold lead just about for a Yunara.
G2 are completely taking over on this bottom side. It was a risk from MKoi to leave open the Yunara, but G2 are putting so many resources into Hansama, and it's looking like it might pay off.
All in again, no mana on Jojo Pure, and there is a reset here from Caps, but he's not going to take it once again. Buster shot held on to here, but things are getting a little bit sticky in the mid lane once again. Mirwin is close to getting knocked back and altered for death, but Broken Blade also ran out of mana.
Aljoya was doing what he could to get something back. We can see how quickly Skumon is clearing through the jungle, even stealing camps whenever he has an opportunity.
Wait, Rocket jumps in with a Nautilus, he buster shots, explosive charge, Jojo not dead. Caps was close to pumping him with a Nautilus in his face.
These 2 mid laners just at the very edge, the Jinx Rockets. The Jinx Rocket just barely. Ow! So close, almost hits onto Caps. He has to flash, actually. We didn't quite catch it on camera, but he ends up flashing away to safety. While all that was happening, the grubs are secured by Skumon, who is just running rampant through the jungle.
Jojo has come back with his TP. He's going to satchel charge return of this TP from Caps as well. He doesn't actually get the timing down of it regardless, as Broken Blade now sitting here against Super and Alvaro. Hansama doing the same against Mirwin. Shadowed Elyoy is here with a cease and desist, all in from Mirwin. Hansama, ulti is available soon, but not right now as he flashes away. On the way out, he finally, I believe, gets that ulti. Yeah, that's how come he gets the enhanced dash and gets out alive, but both summoners are lost in the process.
Especially ahead of things like that dragon fight that's going to be up in just under 3 minutes time. Not having that flash can be crucial, especially if Mirwin may actually look for a bit more.
Once in with the ulti, flashes in, last breath of the ult, gets it! That becomes a solo kill. Mirwin does die in the end, it's a trade. But at least these minions are denied.
Well played, but we have to turn our attention to bot lane because the action doesn't slow down.
Oh, hang on a minute, getting Super caught out, the ulti burned out, the roots are grasped and Super's dead again. The Thorns have strangled one life now, helping for another. It's good dodging from Alvaro, but eventually he will die as G2's jungler is just everywhere. A gank up top, not getting a kill ain't good enough when Skumon is 2-0-2 and running the rift.
Mirwin punishes Hansama for staying isolated on the top side of the map. But given that they knew Elyoya was on the top lane, they knew that they could make a play on the bot side. They punish both Super and Alvaro. G2 get 2 kills off the back of it as well. And we'll look back. So you'll think that Hansama could actually get the kill onto Mirwin. You might be wondering why doesn't he try, and it's because of that rage bar. He knows that so much HP is going to come back in favor the longer he stays in that fight, so he has to flash away. But now he's overstayed, and Mirwin sees an opportunity to punish and get a kill.
He thought that maybe Labrov could get there in time, but Labrov actually going for the aggressive move here. Means that he isn't underneath the tower as Mirwin goes for it. It ends up trading 1-for-1, but again, it's all that CS and experience is lost with that massive wave that isn't going to Hansama. He's still fine.
He's still fine.
800 gold there and ahead in XP, but still would have been nice to hold on to that.
Cheeky little Raptor stolen from Skumon, if only 1 for 8 gold, but the Liandry Zyra is in the enemy jungle. The fear right now as Skumon is half a level ahead of Elyoya. And props to Elyoya. I think keeping up in this game with the early start that Skumon had is really good, but it is getting worse. And with one item, Skumon can just do that from over the wall. The full Krug's taken, at least the small one should be received by Elyoya.
The difference is, in order for Elyoya to keep up, he has to invest all of his time focusing on clearing camps. Whereas Skumon is so fast, he's clearing camps, he's got enough time to read the newspaper, he's taking a sip of his coffee, he's taking your grubs, he's taking your dragon.
You get a train to Beijing in that time,
He can
like
do
you're telling us yesterday.
And that's what I mean. He's just moving so quickly that it's difficult for Elyoya to keep up, and we're really not feeling Elyoya's impact on the map. Of course, he did just assist with that top lane kill. He didn't get a literal assist for it, but it was that involvement thanks to him and Mirwin, where they were able to get that kill on the Hans.
A lot of pressure on this top side, though. Lebrov starting to clear out some vision, and with this wave being crashed in, Mirwin very far away from Mega Gnar.
But Hansame's ulted, he's got the range in. Mirwin's getting Arclight ruined as well. It might just be a hell of a solo kill, but Skumon pops the ulti for the final tick of damage. Top is now over, and Hansame once again is getting full access to plating. Yes, first dragon for MKoi, but I am very worried that this Yunara, thank you for the correction, second dragon of the game, but first for MKoi. When this Yunara is getting everything in the game, Broken Blade can't do anything but stop Jojo as he gets plates himself, but guys, 2k gold lead for G2.
Yeah, it is a trade for Dragon, as you say. Broken Blade going aggressive on the bottom side to stop him being dove. Caps good sidestep. And just going to keep up the pressure on this mid wave, as you can also see Lebrov trying to push Elyoya off of these jungle camps.
Broken Blade, he's going to ult out as well. He's not yielding yet. And on to Jojo, Pune, all the damage connecting, tries to kite it away. Satchel comes up, but he's dead. Solo kill by the top father. And top turret going down at the same time. It is a disaster for the Koi.
Koi is crumbling across the rift. This investment into the bot lane by Skumon is paying off massively. Broken Blade finds himself a solo kill. The top lane is just falling apart.
Into a Nautilus, and with the help of Renata, bail out for Caps if he does die here, and die he does. All right, maybe jumping on Nautilus was a bit too much. Elyoya probably laughing as kill rightly goes over to Super.
A much needed kill. 2 to his name now. He needs to be accelerated as much as possible because he is the player that can turn this game around. We've seen so many jinxes single-handedly win games before, and with the proper resources, Super could be the savior for MKoi. But right now, the game state is looking dire as G2 have accrued a 3k gold lead, and we're only 14 minutes in.
Yeah, I think the hardest part for Super is that he has to open up against Hansame consistently in this mid wave, and if he can ever get on top of Super, run him down, probably finish him off, and also just consistently getting control over this mid wave is just impossible for Super. And now you got dragons that are coming up, you got Rift Tower that's about to spawn in a minute's time. This is where G2 could kind of leverage the fact they have so much control through Broken Blade and through Hansame to play towards this top half of the map. And you can even see Lebrov, he's just pushing Alvaro out of this river with the amount of control G2 have.
One confident Renata. Jojo, though, trying to do something about it while the wards are getting cleared out. Jojo finally has his gun in inventory, but it's going to take a lot more than that. As bot wave is continuously defended, that turret getting low too. And with 3 grubs, you've just seen how easy it is for G2 to push these turrets. One mistake from MKoi and this gold lead expands, and I feel like the next mistake is going to be due in 20 seconds at Herald. MKoi needs to lock in and decide, are they going to fight this objective, or are they going to swap sides of the map and get some gold?
It is going to be hard because you've got so many people covering on bot side. Oh, hang on.
There is an all-in. Satchel is okay. He held on this time.
But you got so many people on this bottom side, you can start to shift in towards this top half and get a ton of vision in this top side jungle of MKoi for G2. And the whole reason is because you have to invest both Elyoya and Alvaro onto this bottom side to try and protect Jojo. And if you don't, well, then Jojo has to abandon the turret, and Caps ends up getting the turret regardless. So you're just caught between a rock and a hard place as MKoi right now. Now they're going to start to move over towards this objective and force Skumon away. But you've already got first move for Caps and Lebrov up from this bottom side.
Skumon, remember, has Seeker's arm guard as well. There's the engage. Skumon pops the button immediately. Redemption comes down. Herald at 2k. The rocket is a miss. Flip back onto Mir when it's zoned out. The eye exposed, stolen. Elyoya takes it and leaves, but Cap hops into all of them. He's got his first reset. Onto the second, interrupted. Elyoya nice, but the buster shot keeps him away. The burn kills Caps. Meanwhile, into Mega Gnar, G2 don't care. Broken Blade pulls out the Natofos. Hard pulls out the whip. and G2 chasing down MKOI for a 3-for-1 kill.
Elyoya gets the smite, but no one gets to pick up the eye. And G2 are winning the fight off the back. Lebrov is chasing Jojo through the jungle as G2 look for the tier 2 on top.
And they're just taking everything. Skumond is stealing camps while he's sieging on the top tower. Super is very low on this mid wave. Broken Blade is eyeing it up, but he's not going to overstay his welcome. Another tower is secured. The goal gap continues to grow as Dragon spawns in a minute's time.
It does feel very relevant to highlight that Skumond here again. That Seekers bought the time they needed.
Yeah, Skumond able to reposition here. Super's rocket doesn't end up hitting. Elyoya can't really connect to it. Then he does end up getting in to sneak away the objective, but Jojo and Super completely isolated in this fight. Caps jumping in with the rocket jump, gets an AoE slow. He falls to the red buff of Elyoya, but he done his job. It's just the slows doing the work and G2 in the better positioning to have their carries deal the damage they need.
So it's definitely a nice play from Elyoya to at the very least get something back.
Yeah, he did the best he could in that fight, right?
But yeah, the situation continues to grow even more dire with each objective that passes. I mean, the best news is that they did ultimately deny that objective, as you both highlighted, and it will slow the siege down a little bit. But yeah, Skumond, as the chatter is saying, really is running the Rift right now. He's been involved in 80% of the team's kills. He's been investing so many resources into Hans Sama, and if you look at the gold difference at the bottom of your screen, 1.7k the advantage for Hans. That's reflected in the itemization, and the same can be said for Skumond, with the Zonya's fully upgraded a full item over his jungle counterpart.
I mean, it's huge right now, isn't it? Skumond and Hans running the map as Lebrov is going to face check. See Mirwin going into Mega Gnar soon. Mirwin, though, has a whole team running onto his position. Alvaro needs to help defend. Death charge onto Hans Sama to stop the fight going any further. Good handshake. Stun doesn't connect. Mirwin still slowed down. He must Mega Gnar and does. That'll help his life. But now with the Arclight of Ruin, gets the flash out of the dinosaur. He will live. Mirwin survives. But G2 will thrive in another dragon.
And Elyoya's on the top side of the map, but there's not much that he can play for. He's just going to be zoned away by Broken Blade as a dragon will go uncontested. Hans Sama is going to lose some farm in that mid wave. He's going to have to take the long way round. But ultimately, another dragon is secured for G2. And Koi, they're limited on their options. Another bot tower will go the way of G2.
In a turret from Caps.
And you're just so far away from MKOI from hitting those items, right? Super still needs 1.5 before he really becomes that big threat. Jojo not really in a position without the Horizon focus as well. So G2 just getting so quickly towards these massive item spikes. And now you're in a position where you've got the Rift Her, or sorry, the Baron. Not Baron. What am I looking for at the top left corner?
Atakan.
Atakan, thank
that's
you.
okay.
My brain broke. Atakan in the top left corner. That's going to be the main focus here for G2. And it makes it incredibly hard for MKOI to find position in the map to fight for it.
Now, a quick reminder, as we're 5,500 gold, the game's not over yet. The series is not over yet. But G2, with the way they're looking, could be on their way to their 8th grand final consecutively. The last 7 grand finals, they've been there. 2023 spring was the last one they weren't, where they finished 4th. But every single other finals, G2's there. And this year, yes, it hasn't been great with their grand finals performances. KC first, then MKOI. But as Broken Blade face checks here, Summer, they just came back from MSI, from EWC, and performed out of their right mind in this split. They destroyed their group, and right now they're destroying MKOI in Game 4.
But again, MKOI can always fight for that rematch. They will be dropped to the lower bracket if they lose here, and that's what happens.
Well, Caps, as he jumps on, Jojo pops him, almost rocket! Super fixes it. Exhaust from Jojo. He satchel charges out. He's been berserk. He's hit big. That Renata rolls great, but Hans Sama's isolated. The game ain't over yet. Hanzo, reset, failed out. Mirwin gets over the wall, finishes the deed. The all-out from Broken Blade delivers the kill. Elyoya was the one taken, but Broken Blade trying to 1v3. Shields up, Natofo, flips up, true damage mitigated. Elyoya survives and bops him. Shut down to Super, and G2 are not finished in this series yet. MKOI live.
A massive punish by MKOI. G2 overstepped their bounds, and MKOI find a fantastic fight. Super played that beautifully. It's Jojo that becomes the target. Caps, he tries ambitiously to make a play, and Jojo punishes him hard. Super then activates his passive, and look at how isolated Hans Sama is. And Super flashes away from Broken Blade, then because of the bailout, Hansama comes back in. I thought that he was going to live, but then Mirwin finishes off the job.
I mean, Broken Blade does a great job on the back of this to finish off a little bit more for himself. But the main point for me was more the fact that why did Caps go in? Like, Skumon was in base. You have so many members of MKOI still on the map and the TPs to match. It's the second time now we've seen Caps over-eager on this Tristana in this game and causing issues for G2.
I mean, Caps has had a good series, but this is not his game.
It's not his game.
He's definitely made a couple blunders, and he is aptly getting punished for them.
But the game state, while mitigated from MKOI from that fight, is still in G2's favor. We come back, Arakan started. Top side of the map's going to be the trade for MKOI, but Arakan is such a big objective. Skumon does it quick, and the trade-off is going to be this top turret that Jojo will take with ease.
Yeah, actually just going to let the creeps die instead. Wants to make sure that G2 loses as much gold on the map, as he does have the satchel charge to take it down if he wants to. But MKOI, at least showing that they still have some life, and if G2 don't play it correctly, can try and come back into this game. Because again, like 4 kills now on towards Supa, has finished the second item. The Last Whisper would be fairly nice for this Jinx and maybe giving him a position that he can actually try and take down Broken Blade.
Yeah, Broken Blades. I mean, there's a long history of Cassante versus Jinx. And let's just say that the Cassante makes life miserable for Jinx.
Yeah.
So being able to shred through that armor is going to be a necessity.
I was just sitting there thinking, I mean, there's a long history of Cassante versus any immobile lady carry, you know?
True.
I feel like...
Did I carefully select my words? Yes, I did.
Yeah, good one, Betty. Bolt breaker. Skumon, face check, death charge. He still has Sonya's hourglass. Remember, the wild growth is now out. Stranglethorns, excuse me. Going berserk for the time being. That hostile takeover down as well. A couple of ultis used by G2. MKOI is starting to survive some of these face checks coming out.
But also, right as Dragon's about 30 seconds until it caps.
Caps wanted to walk up, bouncing bomb on the full. Jojo, low on mana, but he has enough to blast Caps back to the past. And Yoya's hovering down here. 20 seconds till Dragon. Health bar's blinking a bit here as G2 are focusing on Mintara for now.
Well, that's going to be an easy objective secured. Can they catch out Broken Blades?
It's going to be hard. The damage though from Super, wow, it's great. It is good damage. Broken Blade's not tanking up yet. Super Mega Death Rocket almost kills him. Dredge line in. A zap on the Skumon narrowly avoided me with no Mega Narbar. So MKOI picking their fight wisely. Not yet. Lebrov tries for a handshake angle. MKOI no, they back off. And this third Dragon with the health bars, it looks like G2 are going to have it.
Jojo had just TP'd in and now he's just completely out of mana and doesn't have the presence that they really feel like they can make a play here. So MKOI going to back away, and what felt like it should have been an MKOI objective, G2 somehow managed to wrangle.
A situation where Koi, they're looking much scarier as the game continues. I'm keeping my eyes on those items from Super. Jojo still working towards his second completed. But Jojo, there's the Horizon Focus now finished for him.
Yeah.
I keep being surprised by how accurate he is with these Qs. Every time Caps tries to walk up for a trade, he always takes a bomb to the face.
He played against APA for years.
That's true. That does make a ton of sense. And it's a really strong performance. He had a good performance on it last week as well against Fnatic. And the beautiful thing about Ziggs is great wave clear. We've talked a lot in this series about a team's ability to siege, and Ziggs really does slow that down. And when you pair that alongside a Jinx as well, I think that MKOI have the tools to stall, but has Mirwin been caught?
He just lost Mega Gnar. Lebrov needs a good handshake here. 4 members of G2 hovering around bot. The hop first, and Caps hops in second. Mirwin's dead in an instant. Skumon buffers out the bomb with the Zonyas, puts down the Stranglethorns, buys time, sends out some roots, but the zap is good. Shut down. Broken Blade. What? He teleported in, but an all out. He's going to bring Elyoya over the wall, but the Pathmaker misses. Super gets some damage down as well, but MKOI are in front of the Baron with some letters for Elyoya. It's up, sitting there. MKOI double down. They think, hey, G2 need to face check, and still in the all-out. Broken Blade almost dead, but what a takeover! Caps busts a shot onto Jojo next. A rocket jump with the range, and Caps finally comes alive in this 4th game. But Lebrov sold me that fight as Hans Sama hits the nail of the Arclight of Ruin.
A very scary situation as Skewmon loses his life. MKOI threatened the Baron, but then Lebrov with the incredible Renata ultimate completely changes the dynamics of the fight. Caps finds a nice angle, and just like that, MKOI's opportunity is shut down before it can begin.
It looked a little messy. Looked like Broken Blade had lost his mind for a second, but Lebrov there in the wings, and now the pings are on towards Baron. MKOI, no Jojo, no Super, and this thing will melt with Yunara damage.
But Super's going to have ulti. He's got an ulti to send out. Super, the hero of MKOI. 7K, a mega death rocket they need vision for. At 4, it's coming in a little bit early, and it's blocked. Broken Blade at the edge of the wall, and Baron goes down to G2.
G2 now with Baron, 2 minutes until that soul. They should be able to keep this pressure up to start to threaten this tier 2 in the mid lane. And if MKOI are stuck in their base defending Baron minions, it's very difficult to get access to the map to try and look at a dragon.
MKOI, I'm thinking about what options they have at this point in the game. Vi is a very good champion at finding picks, but as long as Zyra and Renata are around, those disengaged champions are so good at stopping that. Maybe they found a pick here.
No, Mirwin needs to go into Mega Gnar though. Going to get these autos off and get that bar a little bit more yellow as G2 still hovering around a minute 30. Dragon's up and it will be their soul. It feels like a defining point. And yes, Ocean Soul is not as strong as maybe some of the older souls in the game, but when I see this kind of front to back that has a double AD carrying a Cassante, it ain't the worst either.
The problem is though, if G2 are able to continue this pressure on the top side of Caps, he can very quickly take a tower thanks to this Baron buff, and Jojo can't really clear out the waves, so that's 1 point of pressure. You've got Hans Sama that can continuously shove in these mid waves as well, alongside Broken Blade, and Super, you can see how long it takes him for clear these waves as well. Difficult to hold on to towers. G2 have so many ways to try and play this out. Now, I will say, it has been a little while and they haven't really gotten much, so maybe MKOI might actually be able to keep these waves away from their base, which would be massive for this Dragon contest.
We take a second to realize the stakes, as both these teams, of course, have already qualified for the World Championship. Both of these teams already have a spot in Madrid, but right now they're fighting for a spot in the finals.
Oh, yeah.
Guaranteed best of 5 to fight for that title. Lebrov has found an angle. Maybe he's found an ult onto Super.
Minion waves in the way, but again, a hostile takeover finds one man, an important one. Jojo is down. Hans Sama, as he picks up that kill, didn't have to expend anything, or rather, excuse me, his ulti was burnt, but regardless, G2 have now opened up mid with it as well, and this Baron is finally going to start doing some damage.
A lot of the wave clear that KOI rely on has now been taken care of. The traps will be thrown down, but that's little to dissuade G2 as they secure their first inhibitor tower of the game.
Oh. And Alvaro's lucky he doesn't die with it as well. They could have opened G2 to try and end the game at that as well. Mir with a new target. Mega Gnar is running at half the Fury now, or rather half the timer, excuse me, as next wave is pushing in through bot. G2, their siege continues. This would lead into double inhibitor down just before their soul is about to come up, and as it sits there waiting at 8,000 gold. G2 are going to run towards it now, and what hope do MKOI have of stopping it?
They need Mirren to try and go towards Mega Gnar if they really want to try and take the fight, but he's not anywhere close to it. Has just gone into his mini form. So G2 spreading out of the jungle. Caps wants to take the fight.
And onto Mirwin. He'll jump first, ask questions later. Mirwin is going into Mega, but will he survive long enough? He hops. He does get the ulti off his butt. The shot helps out as well. Caps gets burnt down by Jojo. Alive. Mirwin staying alive means so much, even though he dies. Now it's up to the rest of them. Now that Jojo's here, what hope does he have with Super alongside him? 3K for the steal, Elyoya for a game 5 potential. You need to steal the rocket, not in range. And another good ulti, gets it, what? Elyoya got it somehow, but the game feels like it's in tatters because of it. Jojo tries to TP out, he survives, but there's only one man and all of G2 remain.
Elyoya steals the dragon, but it will be G2 who steals the series. He thought he could hold it, they thought they could take it, but now the march down the mid lane continues.
MKOI feels like today they've been outclassed. It feels like in this upper bracket, G2 do what was destined of them. They have not missed the finals in 7 tries. And on their 8th, they will not start now. G2 secure their spot at the big stage at Madrid.
Game 2, they were able to punish the mistakes of Koi.